Welcome back, everyone, to our next episode 1582. I'm not really for sure, but it's so good to always be live with you guys here with MNC Hoops. We've got Nick, of course, back, CJ, better late than never, showing up here with us. Guys, y'all had a good week so far. How's it been going?
It's been excellent, man. Glad to be back on with you guys, man. I'm super excited. The new pod drops tomorrow. For the love of the game, make sure to tap into that tomorrow morning, man. Make sure you get it on all streaming platforms, Apple, Spotify, you name it, man. But besides that, I'm doing good, man. I'm happy to be back on. We got a lot to talk about.
Good.
Yes, sir.
Good.
Yes, sir. Week was good, man. Glad to chop it up with you guys. Exactly. We got a lot to talk about. Today, guys, we're going to break down the Southeast Division in the Eastern Conference. So it's a little preview for you guys before we get started.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Guys, have we had any food takes in a while? We haven't talked about food in a minute.
Let's see.
I haven't had anything crazy. So it's been regular for me.
Anything whatsoever?
Let me think of one real quick. I know we talked about pizza in the past because you're a meat lovers. Pause.
How about this? Because my wife made chicken legs today. This is the first time she's ever made chicken leg, but one of my daughters was hollering for that. She wanted like a chicken bone, chicken leg from like they do in school. What part of the chicken do you like most? Because I am a chicken leg or a chicken breast.
I'm a chicken leg and chicken thigh, but I can't. I hate the breast. I can't stand
it. It is a lot of work, and I can't stand that.
It's dry to me too. Like it's just dry. I don't know why.
Yeah, I don't discriminate. They all taste great to me. I would say, as of late, I've been eating a lot of chicken breasts. So I'll say right now, I put that at the top.
My least favorite is the wing. Like that's almost a waste of time, in my opinion. Like,
we know your dislike with wings, man.
I meant actually, like if you go KFC and the little wing, like it looks weird to me. I don't want to eat that, but a chicken leg is totally fine. That makes no sense. But okay, I mean that wasn't too much of a debate. My wife did a good job. We got a new air fryer, Instapot. I don't know if you guys know what that is, but tried it in there and it turns out pretty good. I asked her though, I said, you might need to fry it next time just a little bit, see how this goes. So she's tinkering with that. Wonderful cook, Swambo Beast. She does a great job.
Are y'all McDonald's guys?
Nah.
Okay, I mean,
I've laid off the fast food, man. It's too much.
I'd rather go to Wendy's than McDonald's, but McDonald's season on the fries are good, but their fries have declined big time.
Are they really? I haven't been into a McDonald's like 4 or 5 years, so.
Really? Wow. I mean, that's good. That's very good.
It's been a while. Yeah,
Okay, Subway.
It's not real food, right?
If you go to Subway, what are you ordering?
I'm getting the flatbread and I'm getting the grilled chicken. I got to get lettuce, tomatoes, black olives, mayonnaise, and honey mustard.
Mayonnaise and honey mustard? Okay.
Yeah. Combination.
Italian and herb. Chicken teriyaki. Some olives, spinach, tomatoes, a little bit of mayo, a little bit of hot sauce.
A little bit of what?
A little bit of hot sauce.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it.
So where I work, it's a little smaller area. I mean, I've talked to y'all about that before. As far as fast food, they have Hardee's, Subway, and then some like mom and pop's restaurants, and that's about it. So I've been eating up Subway like crazy. And it's really gotten expensive, so I've been getting like the cheapest thing and the lowest carbs as well. It's just or calories, not carbs. I don't count carbs, trust me. But it's just ham and turkey mix on a wheat bread. It's delicious. And toasted up, mozzarella and shredded cheese together. So good. Lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers with mayonnaise on it. Can't beat it. But I want
cucumbers.
Yes, cucumbers. Do you not like cucumbers?
Hell no, not a chance. Can't do it. I'm also not a pickle guy either, so.
I'll be honest. I love pickles more than I love cucumbers. Sometimes I throw them both on there, and I feel so weird doing it because it's the same thing, just different. But I still get pickles and cucumbers on there sometimes.
It took me a while to come around with cucumbers. I wasn't growing up. I used to hate cucumbers.
Oh yeah.
It was like anytime
I'm with you on that too, honestly.
Just the A squash.
But you know what's so crazy? Like I hate pickles so much. So like when I go to Chick-fil-A, I'll get a sandwich and I'll specifically say no pickles on the bottom. And they still leave the pickles. Which I get it, you know, it's a habit. You know, they do it all the time, but it's like, I can't.
That's pitiful. I am so sorry that you guys hate pickles so much. It breaks my heart.
No, it's not. It's good to me now. Just back when I was younger, it was just
okay.
It didn't change.
Okay,
Yeah,
I got you.
now.
Have you guys ever ate a chicken pizziola at Subway?
Nah, I don't think so.
Okay, you guys are young. All right, it's the best ever. It's pizza sauce with pepperonis with the grilled chicken on it. It's heavenly.
Okay.
It was an older thing when I was in high school back in like 20 years ago, but you know, we won't talk about the time lapse of that. I was so smart in high school because the restaurant just went in and they had a thing where after your 8th meal that you bought, you got one free. Like it gives you the stickers back then. And I would leave the last period on my senior year. I go around to teachers and some of the like journalism class, like they had to stay the last period. Seniors got to go home. And I would get 8 orders together, go to Subway, get it all, and get mine for free, take it back to everyone because they paid for it, you know. But I always got mine for free. It's pretty smart.
Got yours for free.
Knew the game.
Yes, sir. Grinding always. All right, boys. Speaking of grinding, let's go ahead and jump into somebody that's probably not going to be grinding on the court anytime soon.
One sec, man. We got to pay the bills, man.
You're right. I always forget that.
SeatGeek, man. Use code MNC Hoops. Shout out to MNC Hoops. You get $20 off of your first purchase. That's any event, a baseball game, a basketball game, a concert, your favorite artist, you know, anything, man. You know, it's always nice to get that little discount, man. Especially, you know, a lot of these prices are very expensive, especially if you're going to a Beyonce concert. The things are mad crazy. So, hey, man, $20 may not be a lot, but, you know, it helps in the long run. You never know.
That pays for the gas to get there.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's about it for a Beyonce concert. in the thousands.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's ridiculous, bro.
All right, let's go with Cisco concert then. Maybe you can get that for $20. Get one for free there.
Yeah. I don't think a lot of people will be there for Cisco.
What? What? All right, boys. So let's go ahead and start into our first topic. CJ, I know you probably got a graphic. I'll go ahead and pull up the what we're talking about here. What I was talking about as far as my transition here, as far as grinding, this guy has had some conversations with his team, and it sounds like he's not going to be showing up. So I'll go ahead and bring that in. James Harden and the 76ers fall out. At some point, it has to be James Harden's fault with all these fallouts, right? Right, Nick?
I mean, you make a good case. You know what I'm saying? You talk about Houston, you talk about Brooklyn, and now what's going on in Philly. I mean, my whole take on this situation is, so it's clear, you know, it seemed like Harden wanted out. You know, we heard about the reports about him possibly going to Phoenix, but obviously that ended up getting shut down when Bradley Beal went to the team.
Thank goodness.
He ended up. There was talks about him going to Houston as well. I didn't really understand that, but I do know, you know, with Ime Udoka there, they're not really trying to rebuild. They're more so trying to build for the next possible 2-3 years. So who knows? But my thing is, you know, with Harden, to me, it's like there's not going to be any teams that's just going to go out of their way to really trade for him. I'm not going to say he has no value, but he has minimum value at this stage in his career. You know, he's about in his mid-30s. You know, we don't know if he's going to come into training camp in shape or not. You know, I know that his agent always says, "Hey, he's going to come into training camp in the best shape of his life." I'll believe it when I see it. You know what I'm saying? I'll believe it when I see it. And honestly, I mean, I'm not going to say Harden had a bad year statistically because, I mean, he was number one in assists. He averaged around 21, 22 a game. But when it comes down to, you know, who you want on your team to build a championship, you know, we've seen, I mean, the playoff resume is subpar. You know what I'm saying? We already talked about it in the past. The 9 points against Boston in a pivotal game 7. You know what I'm saying? We talked about him even last year going up against Miami, you know, in his disappearance. We talked about San Antonio in 2017 when he only scored 10 points in an elimination game. So as great as Harden is, and, you know, I know a lot of people, you know, we even had the debate about who was a greater shooting guard all time, whether it was him or D Wade, or like at least third grade shooting guard all time. Let me be specific. But it's like, you got to look at the playoff resume and say, this guy has not shown up, when it matters most, especially in pivotal moments, So obviously, they weren't able to find a package, and it was announced that he was going to come back to Philly. To me, that's probably going to be the best bet, is to come back to Philly. Now, is it a great combination at this point between him and Embiid? Is it going to get you a championship? I kind of doubt it, especially with the West. Especially with the East getting stronger. Damian Lillard still has a chance to go to Miami, so obviously that's going to elevate the Heat as title contenders. You still got Boston, Milwaukee's coming back, and then you got a few other young rising teams as well. So, so obviously Philly's going to be in the mix just because they do have the reigning MVP, and of course, I do I'm not going to say Harden's going to have a bad year. I do expect him to produce in the best way possible. And on top of that, they have a young rising star in Tyrese Maxey, who I think is going to take another leap this upcoming season. But at this stage in his career, like I said earlier, to me, Harden has minimum value compared to what he had maybe 3-4 years ago at this stage.
CJ, what's your thoughts on this? Of course, the source, I'll let you go into the source there. You got to pull it up. Probably can read it better than I can anyways. What's your thoughts on Harden?
Yeah, so this is Woj. 76ers have ended trade talks on guard James Harden and plan to bring him back to training camp for the start of the season. The Sixers had periodic off-season conversations with the Clippers, Harden's desired destination, but no traction on the deal materialized. And then we got some extra notes here. Sixers and Harden agreed to seek a trade together after Harden picked up his player option 23-24, but Philly believes it has a championship team with Harden and wants to find a way to make it work with him this season. And then the last note from Woj. Harden has been emphatic in wanting a trade, so the Sixers are setting up an uncomfortable situation to start camp. Ultimately, Philadelphia wouldn't make a trade that they believed would compromise their title hopes. My response is, here we go again. This happened the last 3 years for this guy. Not surprised. He wants to get paid. He wants to play his way. And if he doesn't get one or the other, this is what you get. And I don't want to say that's the end of my take, but it's because we've kind of been talking about the same. It's just a cycle. It's a cycle with James Harden in terms of if he just anything. If he doesn't get his way in any type of circumstance, he's going to run out. Listen, these guys went to 7 games with the Boston Celtics. Easily could have went to the Eastern Conference Finals, had Harden and Embiid had a better game in Game 7 in Boston. Both of those guys folded. But Harden, we're accustomed to seeing that from him. So that's a ritual. And now, and like Nick just said, he led the league in assists. You were a teammate. You were diamond to the reigning MVP. And now you want to leave. I just don't understand the logic and the mindset. Then you want to go to the Clippers, a team that is one of the biggest teases in the last 5 years. We know the players that they have. They have Russell Westbrook already at point guard, and you just led the league in assists. You don't play off the ball. Westbrook's not a great off the ball player. So how would that dynamic even work from a basketball standpoint? Ty Lue would be having headaches galore. If they were able to assemble that big 4 or 4 guys, then 2 out of the 4 guys that have been there the longest can't stay healthy at the right time of the season. So that's just a disaster all around. So it's kind of a good thing that, for the Clippers' sake, that it didn't happen. Mm-hmm. So I just don't know. I don't know. There's reports that he might hold out. He might not show up to camp, and obviously he's going to get fined for that. We'll see how much money is to the point where he's like, all right, I'll show up on some Ben. This is like Ben Simmons 2.0. This is crazy. I feel bad for Philadelphia Sixers fans, really. You got a Ben Simmons hoping that you wouldn't get the same situation that you had when you get bringing in Harden, and now here we are, a year and a half later, almost 2 years later. Yeah, 2 years later, and it's the same exact cycle. And who's the one guy that's still there? Joel Embiid. So I think the clock, first off, not surprised with James. What happens going forward? Who knows? We saw the last time he showed up in Houston, he was out of shape, and he didn't really play until he wanted to leave and got traded and went to his destination. So
I'll say this.
And just one thing is Embiid is It's like, how much is he going to take? I mean, he's dealt with Ben Simmons. Now he did it with Harden. From my standpoint, it's not like he's a bad teammate or a guy that people don't want to play with. Like I said, he just won MVP, and Harden led the league in assists. So what's the like? I don't think it's an issue with those two guys from a chemistry standpoint. It's just weird, man. And I think the real question now is, if you're Joel Embiid, it's what does Philly really have to offer? You get rid of Harden, then what? I mean, yes, we hope Maxey becomes that number 2, to where they have the dynamic drafting guys, the 2 guys that they drafted, they excel together. That's the best case scenario. But now with everything that he's endured since being a 76er, the bad draft picks, Fultz, Okafor, Zaire Smith, all this stuff is accumulated now. Now you bring Simmons and Harden. He's been there through it all. How long does he want to stay?
You know, of course, every one of you, I'll bring up great points. I feel bad for Joel Embiid on this. I feel bad for the 76ers. I thought Ben Simmons 2.0, but I didn't even think about it being the same team. So that even makes even more double whammy on that. But I'll say this. I am so glad this is happening, because it takes the Miami Heat, the Portland Trailblazers, and the Dame conversation on the back burner for a while. That's the only reason why I'm happy that this conversation is going on, because now Dame is not a bad person. It has been, even though it's not finished yet. This is what everyone's going to be talking about, and it takes the whole Heat, pardon the pun, out for that whole trade. So, okay, I'm so thankful for this. Now, on a serious note, in my opinion, nobody wants Harden. He's been nothing but trouble everywhere he goes. On the court, he's been good. He plays well, and he does play well with others. Leading assists is wonderful. We worried about how they would go on in Brooklyn, and he played well with point guard, passing into Kyrie and passing to KD. So he can play well with others. It's just he's not ever happy. Like, I think he more, and this is me diving in there, I don't know this to be true, but I think Embiid got MVP and he got upset that he didn't get the glory. Excuse me. So I think he's not happy with that, and he's won now.
Wow.
I don't know who
That's
trades
true.
for him,
That's
though.
crazy.
Well, I mean, why would you not want to be in Brooklyn with KD and Kyrie? And why did you not want to stay with Oklahoma? So, I mean, everywhere he goes, he's not been technically the star guy. He thinks he should be the star guy. You're a great player, but the NBA has kind of evolved away from how you were playing and getting all your free throw points. If you're not careful, you're going to see yourself playing a role player very soon, because nobody wants that baggage that comes with you.
It's a tough spot. It's a tough spot. The OKC thing, I mean, that was more Clay Bennett not wanting to go over the luxury tax. We know that was a flop. I mean, they're on their way back now, but we know that was a flop. Houston, yeah, that's why we heard Houston, because that was the glory years. But again, you left Houston, could have just stayed there, got your money. You wanted to leave because you wanted to win. Then you go to 2 situations where you're playing with a 2-time Finals MVP and an MVP, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving in Brooklyn, and then you go play with the reigning MVP in Joel Embiid in Philadelphia, and still no rings. And it's just sad, man. It's just a sad situation. But
it is, but there is good situations going on in the NBA right now, and I'd rather go ahead and transition on over there, because I think we've talked about the Harden and Fat Harden as well, which is about to go eat McDonald's probably quite a bit. So one good thing that's been going on in the NBA the past week is, boom, the 2023 Basketball Hall of Fame class. Nick, I'll go ahead and let you talk about it, because I know you said that you were going to be talking about it on your podcast soon, and before we got on here, and I know CJ's trying to bring up all that. Are you happy with this class? What are your thoughts on this?
Greatness. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's just one word to really – that's one word to describe every draft or every Hall of Fame class. But, just watching this one, especially as a young kid growing up, just being able to witness a lot of these players in their prime, it's just sensational. I'll start with Dwayne Wade. I don't know if you guys watched his speech last night, but it was just so dope for him to even tell his story, his upbringing. His mom I think his mom went to prison at one point in his life. And, he had to go live with his dad. He grew up in Robbins, Illinois. Wasn't really like a high recruit coming out of high school. Then had to go to Marquette. Had a great career at Marquette. Now you're going into that legendary 2020 or 2003 NBA draft, excuse me. Wasn't even like top 3 in that draft. You know what I'm saying? Like I think they picked LeBron, Darko, Melo. Was Bosh over D Wade? I think he was. Yeah, Bosh was over D Wade as well. So he wasn't even top 3 or 4 in that draft class. And for him to come out of the gates, with his with the way that his career came, winning a championship by year 3, I know that he had a like a great supporting cast around him with Shaq, Gary Payton, Jason Williams,
Name
Alonzo
one. Come
Mourning.
On. Name that one person.
Udonis Haslem.
There we go.
Haslem. So I mean, I know that he had a great supporting cast of great veterans, but the way that D Wade was just able to take over in that final series, having I think he had 2 40-point games, and then he had 2 other games where he scored over 35. So being able to take over that series after being down to I think it was only 23, 24 around that time too. So being able to handle that pressure, overcome that adversity, and then lead a franchise to his first championship, I mean, you can't ask for anything better than that. Then you fast forward to 2009, where I want to say he was the lead scorer in the league, average around, or the lead scorer in the NBA, average around 30 a game. When the talks were about who was the best player in the league, whether it was Kobe Bryant or LeBron James, D Wade was right there behind him. He may have not ever eclipsed him as the best at that time, but you had to put him in that conversation. I think that was the year where he really elevated as an overall scorer. He didn't really have the great supporting cast. He had an old Jermaine O'Neal. I think he had Michael Beasley on that team, a young Mario Chalmers. So they were still a pretty young team that was still looking to figure things out. But for D Wade to single-handedly carry that team, I mean, there's a lot of moments from that season that you could think about. He had that game winner against Chicago. I don't know if y'all remember, but he ended up getting a steal and ended up making a 3-pointer, and then jumped right onto the podium. I think he had a few other 50-point games as well. So, for D Wade, especially at that time in his career, I think you could arguably say that was probably his best year. I think you can kind of have a debate between 06 and 09, but as far as offensively, I think 09 was definitely better. But then also probably one of the more important times in D Wade's career was 2010. You know what I'm saying? It's a transition. You bring in one of the best players in basketball to your franchise. Not only do you welcome him to your franchise, but you allow him to be the number one option. I mean, a lot of people, especially a player D Wade's caliber who was there for 6-7 years prior to LeBron even getting there, had already delivered a championship and had already established himself as the best player in that franchise's history. For him to say, "Hey, you're the better player than me. We're not going to win a championship unless you lead the way." To me, that showed a lot of maturity, a lot of leadership, and obviously, putting your pride to the side and saying, "You know what, I want to continue to win more championships. So you know what, I'm going to take a step back." And even though D Wade was a second option, he was still a phenomenal player. I mean, he had 40-point playoff games. He had a few game winners during that process. Even during that winning streak, I want to say I read a stat. He had I think he scored over 30 like 5 times during that 27 game winning streak. So it's like I said. I mean, D Wade showing that leadership, showing that resilience, to be able to be a second option and just take a step back to LeBron. I thought that was sensational. So, overall 16-year career was sensational. I'm sure we can all forget about those years with Cleveland and Chicago. But, when it comes down to the greatest player in Miami Heat's history, I don't think there's a debate. I'm glad that D Wade even owned to that, because Malika Andrews, shout out to Malika, she actually asked a question whether he believes that he is the greatest player in Heat history, and he said without a debate. So, and I mean, look, to give credit to LeBron did great in his 4 years, but when it comes down to who is the greatest player in Miami Heat history, or who is more important to that franchise, it's no doubt it's D Wade. So kudos to D Wade, 3-time champion, Finals MVP, a 13-time All-Star. The resume is there. So everything that D Wade went through, the resume, it just adds another element to his greatness.
You will go ahead, CJ.
Oh yeah. This was an elite class right here. You look at Paul Gasol, Dirk Nowitzki.
Okay, I didn't even get to the other guys.
You was gonna keep going. That's why I paused.
My bad.
But yeah, we got Tony Parker, and obviously Nick. Nick went off on a great, on a great career analysis of D Wade. Also had Becky Hammon as well, WNBA Hall of Famer. head coach of the Las Vegas Aces. Yeah, this class was elite. This class was elite, man. This is cream of the crop. You got 3 of the best European players of all time in there, with TP, Powell, and Dirk. Pop, top 2 coach ever, right? To me, Phil Jack, however you want to do that. Just clearly the top 2. D Wade, top 3 shooting guard. This was an elite class. I saw bits and pieces of the speeches from everybody. I haven't seen everything in full. Everything's out on the NBA YouTube channel if you guys want to check that out for our MNC listeners. There's some good stuff, powerful stuff from everyone here, talking about their stories, where they came from, their journeys to, all of these guys, these 5 guys are champions as well. Multiple, well, not Dirk, but everybody else, multiple time champions. So, and they've all battled against each other. You remember the Lakers and the Mavericks, Lakers and the Spurs going at it. We know the Heat and the Spurs battles back in the early 2010s.
Heat Mavs too.
Heat Mavs. Dirk got his one against Wade. Wade got his first one against Dirk. So there's a lot of history and so much things to unpack when you look at this draft class right here, man. This Hall of Fame class. This was good, and congrats to everybody, and they deserve it. I mean, Dirk, just him getting that championship really put him. It's like a 30-minute highlight video on YouTube, and that's his playoff run, and just couldn't be stopped. As soon as he got the ball in the high block, one dribble, one-legged step back, everything. Free throws, great at the free throw line. The thing with Dirk was, like, people just thought he was just a stretch forward. Like, people used to put him in this box of, like, he's a stretch forward. And yeah, he did, revolutionize the game because of that. He was a great floor spacer at his height, but he worked in the mid-range. He got most of his buckets, top 10 all-time in scoring, in the mid-range. So, and he was a great free throw shooter, 88 to 90% at times. Powell, being in Vancouver / Memphis, was a good player, but was he a great enough player to be a number 2, number 3 option on the championship team? They make the trade for his brother. Essentially, his brother lit it up to he's going to be a Hall of Famer too, I believe, down the road. Goes and teams up with Kobe. Kobe desperately needed that number 2 option after the departure of Shaq a few years prior. And they go to 3 straight finals, 2 in a row. It puts him in the way he played. And, after, having a difficult finals run against the Celtics the first time, excelling and getting it back in 2010 was special. And his chemistry with Kobe, and I think Vanessa Bryant was talking a little bit at the ceremony yesterday. So that, obviously that's powerful stuff too. Their relationship they had, speaking Spanish on the court, so that the opposing teammates don't know what's going on. If you see Kobe doing work produced by Spike Lee, you see that clip there. That's a classic doc right there.
That's a classic doc, man. I ain't seen that in years.
That doc is on YouTube as well. That doc is on YouTube.
It is, yeah.
A lot of hidden gems on YouTube. But yeah, and then Tony Parker too. I mean, it went from it was David Robinson and Tim Duncan. It was like, okay, what up? David Robinson leaves. Who's next? Tony Parker, 2nd round pick out of France. Nobody expected him to be this good. One of the greatest floaters ever. That float game, the spin floater, you just couldn't stop it. As soon as he got into that like 13, 14-foot range, the floater was nasty, man. Finals MVP in 2007 against LeBron. He was a beast. One of the most underrated point guards of all time, no doubt. A lot of people don't mention him when we used to go talk about rankings and point guards. We never mentioned Tony Parker, but that TP number 9, man, he was special. He was special for sure. And obviously Pop changing the game kind of with the Princeton offense. He started really the 3-point game early in his run with the Spurs. Just what they did from, let's just say 99 to 2015 was just those 17, 18 years. Multiple
dynasty.
Like oh no, of course.
I knew somebody.
Of course. No question. A dynasty for those guys to win another championship later in their career, facing a tough Miami Heat team 2 years in a row, losing in a heartbreaker in 7, and and then coming back and blasting them in 5 games and the following year in historic fashion, historic margin. Just elite. And I know he has 5 and Phil has 11, but if you would just how you compare it and everything, and for those guys to stay together for that long, it was special, man. You got to give that man a lot of credit. One of the greatest head coaches of all time. So this is easily the last few classes have been great. Last few classes have been really good. But this one right here is with the international and global game mixed in with Wade and everybody, and all these guys too weren't like highly touted number 1 pick. Like these guys who were like, oh yeah, this guy's going to be great coming in. All these guys had to work and put the work in, and their work ethic spoke for itself, and that's why they're in the hall. So congrats to all these guys.
Well, I'm glad you said that because you said it better in the way I was going to say it. I didn't know how I meant it, but that's totally what I meant. Like what I was going to say is like this is a group of guys that everyone liked. It's everyone cheered for these guys because they were an underdog story in a way. I mean, Wade came out Marquette and was the star, yes. But then when LeBron came over, he actually took a huge pay cut for that whole tenure that they were together. Tony Parker took pay cuts to keep Ginobili, Parker, and Duncan together. Everyone did sacrifices. Dirk stayed in Dallas the whole time, and he really had no help hardly ever, it seems like. I mean, yes, he had some players, but like you think back of the Dallas team, all you think of is really Dirk. Yes, they had the best point guard ever in Jason Kidd and some other.
They had a little bit of help. I mean, they had like Jason.
They had help.
They had
help.
Was Dirk, Josh Howard.
But they had only Dirk as far as like
superstar, yeah, all-star, yeah. I get it.
And Gasol in the off seasons, on many times you see reports he's over somewhere doing like brain surgery on people because he's a genius, basically. Like he's a doctor of some sort.
Doctor, yeah.
So I mean, it's what a wonderful class. Just everyone likes him. Pop is a NBA legend, basketball legend. I know the rings are different, but the more and more I watch this guy and just see how involved he is and how he moves milestones of so many different things going on with the NBA, he's very close, in my opinion, to being number 1 NBA coach, just for the fact that he stayed with Spurs the whole time, the transition from the 2 bigs to the 2 guards and a big, and still going to make teams happen. I mean, already we've got Spurs ranked so high, not we, us 3, but NBA is ranking, or media are ranking the Spurs high just because they have Wembanyama and Pop. I mean, that's really it. They have a wonderful coach and a guy who's 19 feet tall. So he's got to be up there as far as very close, 1A, 1B. I mean, if I'm going to make an argument of anything here, Phil, couldn't think of his name. I mean, he had Jordan forever, and then when he retired and came back, he had Kobe. Like, I mean, that's great to come back to. Let's be honest. So Pops went through the thick and thin. That's where he's grinded out some with the Spurs, and I appreciate that so much. So this class is just wonderful. I think everyone likes him. Even you went on to say Ham as well, who coached with the Spurs for a few years, and now the ace and everything. Possibly will be the first female head coach in the NBA very soon, in my opinion. So yeah, wonderful class. I think, if not one of my favorite classes that's been in a while, I'd say in the decade, at least everyone having good to say about them.
Yeah, let me go and touch on the other guys, because I don't know why I was so locked in on D Wade when I first spoke, the rest of these guys, they all great in their own way. I think it's so funny because I think years ago I read something about Pop. So I think this may be like 97 or like 98. The Spurs had gotten off to like a slow start to the season. And like they were about to get Pop up out of there. Like they were like about to fire him like the next day. But then I think out of nowhere, like they just got a win, and then the next they went on a winning streak. So you could imagine, like, this is like right before they won that first chip in '99. So if you imagine like they would have fired Pop, there would have been no 5 championships for the Spurs, which is crazy. So luckily that didn't happen. And you see the resume that he has now. I think he has like the most 50 win seasons in NBA history. So that's definitely another testament to his leadership, and him being able to keep a team disciplined. I know a lot of people may view the Spurs as a boring team because they're not making the flashy plays. There's not guys that are out there doing 360s or anything, but they stick to their guns. You know what I'm saying? And you definitely got to respect it if you're a fan of basketball. And as for Dirk, winning that 07 MVP, I know people don't really hold that to like a higher regard just because they ended up losing to Golden State in the first round that year to that We Believe team. But for him to bounce back 4 years later and win a championship, and I think people don't really understand how significant that championship is. He had to go through Kobe, who was coming off a championship, actually coming off of 2 championships, and was trying to get a third one. So he stopped Kobe from three-peating. He played against a young OKC team with Kevin Durant, Russell Westbrook, James Harden. Then on top of that, you go up against the big three of LeBron, D-Wade, and Chris Bosh. So, when you think about that title run, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think that's why it's so respected, because he was going up against teams with multiple All-Stars. And I mean, don't get me wrong, Dirk definitely had a great supporting cast around him that year. But when you talk about, like, going up against teams with multiple All-Stars, and then of course the Mavs only had one All-Star, I think that just makes it more significant. Mm-hmm. So kudos to Dirk, man. Dirk is actually probably one of my favorites. He definitely held it down. He was one of the guys that held it down at the power forward position during the 2000s, whether it was him, Tim Duncan, Kevin Garnett, Chris Webber, the list goes on and on. So kudos to him. I'm definitely glad that he gets his flowers. And then Pau Gasol. I know a lot of guys, they call him soft because, he's not a guy that's going to battle down low, be physical down there. He's more of a finesse type of guy, but I think you have to respect his versatility. He's a big, he has a nice touch on the mid-range. He can pass the ball. He can put the ball on the floor and make plays. I know that in Memphis, his resume wasn't great, and I mean, he even acknowledged it too in his speech. When he talked about going to the Lakers and playing with Kobe, he said that he wouldn't even be where he is today if it wasn't playing with Kobe Bryant. So I love the fact that he acknowledged that, because, and I mean, you could tell that Kobe made him a better player, because I mean, it's like CJ touched on it earlier. Like, after that 08 finals, it was looking pretty rough for him. But for him to bounce back, they ended up winning against Orlando that next year. And then, of course, beating Boston the next year, man. So for Powell to be able to get those 2 rings, and for him to play a significant role in getting those 2 rings, and of course helping Kobe get 5, I think that was great for him. So kudos to Powell. I'm a big fan of Powell. And did I even touch on? I don't even think I touched on TP. 2007 Finals MVP. It's like CJ mentioned. I think he's one of the more underrated. I think he's one of the most underrated point guards in NBA history, because I mean, it's like we mentioned before. He's not a flashy guy. So he definitely fits that San Antonio culture. But his ability to get to the basket, he was quick. He had a nice touch on the mid range as well. He wasn't necessarily like an elite 3-point shooter, but I think the longevity of Tony Parker doesn't really get talked about enough, because I mean, even like 2014, 15, like I felt like he was still in those conversations as one of the best point guards in the league. And I mean, this is like right before guys like Steph kind of like, emerged as a superstar, like before guys like Russ ended up winning MVP. I want to say Chris Paul was probably known as the best point guard at that time, but Tony Parker was right there as well, And then on top of that, they ended up winning a championship around that year as well. So, the longevity of Tony Parker doesn't get talked about enough. And, I'm glad he's definitely getting his flowers. I still don't know why he went to Charlotte for that last year, but that's neither here nor there. But kudos to all these guys, man. They all did their thing, man. They all had great careers, and there's a reason why they're in the Hall of Fame class.
Speaking of some of the greats that we were talking about here in the Hall of Fame, let's go ahead and transition now, since Nick went back and talked about the other ones that were elected into the Hall of Fame. Let's go ahead and go with this top 10, 20. Well, how am I going to say this? The NBA 2K24 top 10 ratings. There we go. CJ, I know that you're going to be all over this for some reason, because, CJ versus the world. I said it right, didn't I?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No, we got it here. So, 2K24 is coming out September 8th. MNC fan, you guys, if you want to check out your boy playing 2me3, follow me on YouTube, TJ versus the world. Roll to 50 subs. But this is a little shameless fuck that. But this is the top 10. This is the top 10 players in 2K24. You got Jokic number 1 at 98. You have Giannis, LeBron, Embiid, KD, and Steph with a 96. Luka, Tatum, Jimmy Butler at 95. And then to round out the top 10, Kawhi, Devin Booker, and Damian Lillard have a 94 overall rating. You get your guys' reaction on this. Let's start with our guy, Michael.
Give me 1 second. I am looking for someone. Okay. I think it's good overall list. I mean, it's 10. It's hard to get everyone that you're going to get into that list. So I'm fine with it. 98 for Jokic. Wonderful. Giannis, 96. That's good. LeBron, I will even say, yes, that's fine. I could see it a little bit higher, but I don't know what they're taking in. Maybe stamina on that. Who knows? But going down through there, where's AD? I would assume that AD would have been in the top 10, but that's here nor there. So, yeah, I'm happy with that. I could see Jimmy Butler being a little bit lower than this, but also Kawhi Leonard. I mean, he's hurt so much. He's not played much. When you go with injuries, it's hard to rate those players, especially for a computer game. So, like when they're 100% healthy, I think this is pretty good. I'd like to see AD in there somewhere, though. I don't know who you're going to knock out.
Kawhi.
Yeah, I mean, probably I think he's a 93. So it's like
90, so he's right there at it.
Right off the top. Yeah, right off the top.
Okay. I think Booker is better than Butler, though.
Okay, it's perfect. This is going to be a perfect transition to our next topic. So
I know, but yeah, I feel like Butler's a little high on this. Love him, of course. Heat culture, don't come at me, but yeah. What about you, Nick?
I'm sure they base this all off of playoff performances and all that. So it's not really a surprise to see Jimmy at a 95. Now, I mean, I definitely do agree. I would probably have Booker higher than him. I'll probably have Dame as well. Kawhi is tricky because I do think Kawhi is a better player than Jimmy Butler, but I mean, the man hasn't been healthy for the past few years, so it's it's kind of hard. Me personally, I would have put Giannis at 97. I don't know why. I mean, I'm sure it doesn't really make a difference going from 96 to 97, but you know what I'm saying? I probably would have put him there. It's very interesting to see LeBron at a 96 because I think he's been 98 for the last so many years. So for him to get a little drop, I mean, and look, don't get me wrong, 96 is still good, especially for a player at his age going into his 21st season. So it's still pretty good. Joel Embiid, I like his ranking. KD, Steph, I probably would have put Steph at 97 too. That's just me personally.
Of course.
Not. I was gonna say not any Warriors bias. I'm just being realistic. Luka and Tatum, I think they're right at where they need to be. I think that might be the one thing that I might have a problem with. I mean, I wouldn't say I have a problem with, but I don't know. Jimmy is a little high. I think Jimmy is kind of a little high. I mean, look, 95 is good, but I don't know if I would have him over guys like Booker and then Damian Lillard. So I mean, that's just kind of my thing. But besides that, I think a lot of these guys are deserving to get 94 and higher.
Yeah, this is a solid list. Jokic, it makes the most sense, right? He should definitely be the highest overall player in the game the season that he had. It was just unstoppable player. You know this. And I can see Giannis 97 as well. But this is good. I know Butler got a lot of reaction, which is probably the number one reaction to the top 10 more than anything else. Seeing Butler at 95, also seeing Butler ahead of a guy like Kawhi and Lillard, but had a special playoff run. I mean, look what he's done these 4 years in Miami. Took them to the finals, 2 out of the 4 years, three conference finals appearances. With I mean, I like Bam, but he's a number 3, right? We could say that now. You know, after watching the Bam's number 3 option, which is nothing wrong with that. But he hasn't had that superstar. He hasn't had AD next to him. You know, like LeBron had, or doesn't have Harden. Or he didn't have a KD when Steph was there. It's just what he's done since going to Miami has been sensational. So if you want to put him down 94. My thing was some of the other ratings. They had Jamal Murray way too low at 88. Should definitely be a 90.
I think it was 87 actually.
Either one.
Right,
he should still be a 90.
He should still be a 90, at least 90, 91. If you're gonna
93,
get
I mean,
love,
I'd probably put Murray at a 92.
So that's cool. That's fair. But the only thing I would say is he does have to. He played well in this postseason, but he also has to match regular season and postseason going forward. And they did that this year. Obviously, this was the first where they did that. First seed in the West, chip. So cool. But definitely he should be a 90 and up. 90, whatever you want to put in, he should be in that 90 ball club. De'Aaron Fox should have been a 90. He was an 88. SGA was a 93. Donovan Mitchell was in 90. Donovan Mitchell was in 93. So
that's not bad, I don't think.
Yeah, it's solid. Yeah, like going down, Mitchell. Like going down was pretty solid for some players. But I felt like the one that was most glaring to me, looking at some of the ratings, was definitely Jamal Murray. I feel like Jamal, and he actually tweeted out his frustration with the rating, and then Ronnie 2K, kind of like the 2K, spokesperson, responded to him and said, check back with us in a week. So I mean, it's just like, because only because he responded is why you're going to change it. It doesn't make any sense. You should have figured that out. You had 12 months, or at least a few months to get the ratings intact. But nonetheless, obviously the game's coming out in less than a month. There've been some discussions about what things is going to change. Obviously I told you guys crossplay was going to be a new addition. So Xbox and PlayStation gamers will be able to play the game together. I think that's great. So if you guys get the Series X or S or PS5 in the near future, we can run some 2K together and do some couple live streams. I think that'd be great. You guys can meet some of my guys. Awesome. Yeah, it would be. You guys can meet some of my guys that I run 2K with, and kind of get that community even stronger that I got over there on the 2K world. So from there. So some things, they're taking away a couple badges that some gamers weren't fans of, that they thought were too cheesy, put in quotations for our audience that's listening. But I think it's going to be a good game. They just got to fine tune a couple things. Perimeter defense, interior defense could use a touch buff for sure. But other than that, it was a pretty solid game for 23, and I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with it in 2K24.
So I'm looking at the rest of the list right now. It's kind of crazy. So they got Domantas Sabonis at an 89 overall. So they got him over Tyrese Halliburton. They got him over De'Aaron Fox. They got him over Jamal Murray, and they got him over Bradley Beal. I don't know about the rock with that. I like Sabonis. I'm a fan of his game, but in the 89 is not bad, but I don't know if I have him ranked higher than a lot of these other guys. Like they got, like I said, like CJ mentioned, they got De'Aaron Fox at an 88, they got Jamal Murray at an 88, and they got Bradley Beal at an 87. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, Fox is the best player on the Kings. He should definitely be the highest rated player. Right. It just makes the most sense. But
unless they're going by some formula on there as far as like what they average for rebounds, blocks, steals, something like that. Because Sabonis does get a lot of stats, as a stat sheet filler. We'll say that. And as you were saying that, Nick, I was totally with you on there, and I started thinking, Sabonis really last year kind of played out of position a little bit. He was more of a smaller center that they had, and Golden State Looney just ate him up. So maybe what we saw, or at least me, I'm handicapping that a little bit. Like, well, what I saw, he didn't play well. But if they had a true 5 and he played more of that 4 position, maybe that makes a little more sense. So I'm just trying to wonder on that. I'm not saying that you're wrong on that, because I do think Fox, no matter what the ratings are, should be the number one option on that, or he is the number one option on the team in real life. So, I mean, I feel like overall he should be better than Sabonis anyways. So I don't know if I'm going to be totally mad at where they have him ranked. It's just more maybe Fox should be ranked higher, because he does a lot of different things too. Sabonis does.
Yeah, and they got Jalen Brunson at 87. I mean, this is my opinion.
That's a good Brunson there.
Well, I was beater. I think he should be 89 or 90.
No, Brunson, he's not that good.
I mean, he was number one option this year.
That was Randall.
87 is cool.
Really?
They got him and Randall the same rating.
Yeah, that's. I mean, again, Brunson's first year being a guy or being the guy. I think that's a good rating. He finished 2K23 with an 87.
Oh,
so
no,
he's the guy. He's the guy for sure.
Okay.
We can look today against their game against Spain today. The guy.
Ant-Man is 86. Did you say?
Yeah, they got Ant-Man 86. That's crazy. I would have him at least 89 or 92.
89 or 92? I mean, that's
or 89 or 90.
Okay, I was like, dang, dude, that's a big leeway
Nah.
there. I haven't ranked anywhere between 1 and 100, boys. That's awful.
They got Aiden at a 84. What y'all think about that?
Say that again.
Yeah, DeAndre Ayton.
It's on him.
I'll say this.
Wemby's at 84 as well.
See,
Wemby's 84.
that was something that was a little alarming to me. They said he's the second highest rated rookie in 2K history. Kenyon Martin, I think, was the 86, and Wembanyama is the 84. I felt like that was a little too high for me. I mean, he hasn't played a second in the NBA. I think 81 would have been cool. Scoot was a 78. Brandon Miller was also a 78. So I think 80, 81, 82 range would have been fine. LeBron was a 78 when he got drafted. His rookie year coming out for 2K. I think it was just a little too high, but we'll see. This guy has a lot of pressure on this young man. I wish him the
That's
best.
true.
Damn,
They got Russ 81. Okay.
Mm.
I would have had him at least 85. To me, I don't think 85 is bad for Russ.
It's not bad, but you got to think of also the 2 Laker years. I know he kicked up
That's
against
true.
the Clippers, but it was a little rough there for a second. He'll get back to it, but a full season with these guys, he'll definitely get higher. When the season, like halfway through the season, he'll be higher than 81 for sure. I'm confident in that.
That's true.
CJ, how much is the game when it's not out yet, right?
No, it's not out.
Not
So
yet.
right
It's
now,
come out
the
like early
pre-order-
September.
Yeah, September 8th is the release date. They got a
Okay.
couple bundles right now. Obviously, standard edition is 70. These games are getting absurd now with the prices, by the way.
Exactly, bro. They used to be at least like 50, 60.
Yeah.
Yes. Back in the day, those were the good days. You used to think that was expensive. Now it's 70. Standard is 70. The Mamba edition is 100, and
Ooh.
the 25th anniversary 2K's 25th anniversary edition is 150. And with that, you get NBA League Pass for the whole year. So that's really like the $50.
Oh,
League
okay.
Pass is $50. So they just
Mhm.
threw in the here you get League Pass for already $50.
It's a great bundle here, guys.
Yeah,
but
that's exactly how they do it. That's what they've been doing over the last couple of years. But yeah, I don't know. I might. We'll see. I feel like I might get the Mamba edition. I might get the hardcover because
I'm definitely getting the Mamba edition.
You get the poster and everything. So I had the 17. I got to look for my 2K17 one. I didn't get the 21 when he was on the cover for that one. I only had a digital. So I'm gonna try to see if I get the hardcover for the Kobe because I know they're gonna usually have a poster inside the. Case.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, guys, I'll say this: when it's the off season, it seems like everyone that plays has some kind of comment to be making here lately. Let's go ahead and transition over to our next topic here, and let's go ahead and jump into this because I think it's a pretty good debate, and y'all might be surprised on how I go about this. I don't know, but Evan Turner's comments on the Butler and Middleton comparison. I'm going to let the graphic come up first here. I'm going to move it away from your face, CJ. All right, so looks like NBA Central, Evan Turner says Jimmy Butler and Chris Middleton is a true debate. People will flip their lids if I try to start a Chris Middleton, Jimmy Butler debate because it's a true debate, respectfully, for all the parties involved. CJ, since you usually bring up the graphics, you don't get to go first or talk about this first. What's your opinion on the comparison or the debate?
Well, first off, one of the funniest reactions was Nick's reaction to this.
Oh yeah.
This one with the video. What was that from Batman? Spider-Man?
I think it was. I can't remember exactly what it was, but one of the dudes was like, yeah, one of the dudes like, yo, get back in the kitchen.
It was like one of the DC or Marvel animated series from back in the day. And when I saw that, I was just crying, bro. That was hilarious. from a play style perspective, I understand. They're like to do take mid range shots. I would say Middleton's a better 3-point shooter from a play style perspective. But when you look at carrying a team, taking the team to the playoffs, taking the team to the finals, I just talked about what he's done over the last 4 years, being the number one option in Miami. Chris Middleton has never done. I know that I had a little squabble a couple months ago about Middleton and Cat, and a lot of it had to do with this was because Middleton never. He's a really good player, but he's never had the responsibility of being the guy and having the expectations that come with that, and with that is winning. And yes, he's won as a number 2 option. He's done some great things as a number 2 option, being clutch, filling a void. I agree. That's a great point. That's a great from a tangible standpoint, obviously. But Middleton's done a great job filling the void of Giannis's main weakness, which is lack of shot creation off the dribble. That's something that he's not great at. Middleton does that at a high level, so that's why their pairing works so well, and that's why they were able to win the championship and defeat Miami in the process during that year in the first round. But granted, you look at what have you done for me lately when Giannis was out and missed those 2 games this year. Jimmy Butler averaged 37 on 50 plus, 42 plus, 85 plus shooting splits, and completely dominated. Whether it was Jrue Holiday, Chris Middleton, whoever was in front of him, they had no shot. So that would have been the perfect time when Giannis was out. Middleton could have stepped up and had some really solid games. They could have went back and forth. That would have made the debate interesting. But come on, like Evan Turner. I mean, again, like you said at the top, these guys, they know what they're doing, right? And they know what they're doing in terms of it's the offseason. People don't have a lot to talk about right now. They're helping us with a topic, so salute, I guess. But when you say something this crazy, knowing the game, being in the NBA, being teammates with great players, there's levels to it, regardless whether they have a similar play style or not. Like Giannis and Ben Simmons have a similar play style, but Giannis is light years better than Ben Simmons. So it's weird. Obviously Jimmy, I don't really get it's kind of like some backhanded Jimmy Miami Heat hate. I don't know why. I think they're a great story. They don't have it's not like the 2010 Heatles where they're stacking the deck like we saw back in the day. They got a bunch of dogs like I believe that was Logan's. Appreciate you commenting on the stream, my brother. They got a bunch of dogs, underrated guys that were counted out, and they buy into the system and they win. And Jimmy's at the top of that list, and he's the best player when it comes to that. You talk about Wade going to Marquette. Butler also came from Marquette, and he was 30th pick in the first round. He was the 30th pick. He was the last pick in the first round. Thibodeau said he didn't think this guy would be this good. He thought he'd just be like a Ronnie Brewer type from the early 2010s. He would just come in, defend, do a multitude of things. He worked on his game. He developed and becoming an excellent shot creator. Mid-range is deadly. The 3-pointer, it's not elite, but at the right time, if you need a bucket and you need a shot, yes, it's knocked down. So I don't understand the Heat hate. I mean, even now what we're seeing with them trying to get Dame, you see all these guys in the media just throwing some like backhanded shade. It's very weird to me. But to conclude my point here, Jimmy Butler is better than Chris Middleton. And I don't think it's a true debate. I don't think it's close when you factor in everything what it takes to be a player and a star player in this league.
All right, Nick, your turn.
A couple months ago, I was telling y'all to put some respect on Chris Middleton's name. However, yeah, I'm not defending him on this one. Not even close, man. I mean, it's Jimmy Butler. To me, I don't understand where Evan Turner is going with this. I don't think it's a true debate at all. And look, I like Middleton. I think Middleton has been great. Without his contribution on that team offensively, there's no way the Bucks win that championship in 2021. So I definitely give him his props. But it's like CJ mentioned, what I'm saying? Like, this is a multiple-time All-Star. This is a guy who has who has proven that he can carry a team to the NBA Finals. He's done it twice now. He's done it twice. And this is a guy, he's played with an all-star caliber player in Bam Adebayo, but Bam Adebayo is not the number 2 option like the Anthony Davises of the world or the James Hardens or I don't know, the Jaylen Browns of the world. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like, don't get me wrong, Bam is a great talent, but you know what I'm saying? Like, he's not like a superstar number 2 option like the other guys that I mentioned. So, with him being able to do that, especially this past year being a number 8 seed, and then on top of that, he beat Chris Middleton. He outshined Chris Middleton in that first round. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, let's be honest here. He had a 50-point game. He had a few 40-point games as well. So, look, I'm not trying to take nothing away from Chris Middleton. He's like, it's like I mentioned, he's a great player, but there's also levels to this as well. And Jimmy Butler has proven that he's a great leader. He's proven that he could put a team on his back, in order to win pivotal games in the playoffs. So, to me, I don't think that this is a debate. To me, it's like if you can make a case for Middleton, I don't think you can, honestly. So it's Jimmy Butler if we want to talk about who's the better player out of these two, and I think that's where the debate ends.
I'm gonna say this, kids, listen up. These two guys, in my opinion, are pretty much the same player as far as skills and everything. I think they're very close as far as shooting, defense, everything. I'm going to agree with what's going on the conversation on that. But I agree with what Logan said as far as the intangibles. Butler just doesn't care and will do anything to win. And I think that is what completely sets him on different tiers. Butler, like CJ said, doesn't have the greatest shot from the 3-point, but when he needs it, he makes it. So on those clutch or those ice vein moments, whatever you want to say, Jimmy Butler prevails. That's all you can say. If somebody needs to be that hateful, I'm going to take everything bully person, it's Jimmy Butler. And he's going to go and win, period. And that's what puts his not a debate on who's better or worse on that, because Jimmy Butler just has the bigger heart and the desire and the hustle in him. Now, as far as skill set, if you just look at them and see percentage and shots and makes and all this stuff, they pretty are. I would assume they're pretty close, actually. So that's why I think I understand what Evan Turner is debating on this, but you can't rate the heart and the hustle that a guy will have on that. And that's why I say, kids, tune in and pay attention on this. If you want to be better, your skill sets can only carry you so far, but your hustle can carry you farther than your skill sets. And I think this is where Jimmy Butler is one of those guys. Because, we go back to hearing before I would say I'm trying to think preseason or even before preseason in Minnesota where he said, "No, I'm not playing with those guys. I'm playing with these guys, and we're going to beat the starting guys." And he did it because once he says it, hey, he is dead set on doing everything it takes. So the intensity that he brings is unmatchable. That's just what it is. 8 seed, not really that good of a guy as far as being a baller, but yet when he has to make a basket, he's going to make that basket. He's not flashy. He's not going to tween behind the back, spin, up and under everything. He's going to say, hey, I've got a score here. I'm going to jab one way, and I'm going straight to the goal. I'm not getting fancy. I'm jumping up. You can jump with me. I'm going to take the body, absorb it, and then I'm going to make it at the last second. He just does it the hard way, really, and makes it work. So that's why I think Jimmy Butler is ceilings above Chris Middleton in this argument. But I understand what he's saying as far as skill set. I think they are actually kind of close.
Exactly. Just to put it in one sentence, Jimmy Butler is a top 20 player. Chris Middleton is closer to 50 in the top 50 as a player. It's just that simple, man. Evan Turner knows that.
We call one guy Himothy, and the other one we're not really for sure how he spells his first name.
Crazy.
So with that, let's go ahead and transition on to our next topic, which I think is kind of interesting on some of these matchups, as I kind of allude to what we're going into, or I guess cliffhanger a little bit there. CJ is bringing up the graphic, I'm sure. Nick, have you seen some of the opening season opener for the NBA and some of the Christmas matchups?
I saw a little bit of it. I'll wait till the graphic comes up so I can
There's
like
one
an
or two
actual.
games that I've seen that I'm just like, I'm not really for sure about why that's there on a Christmas game, I think it was, but I'm like, okay, we need to see other teams sometimes too. Let's see here.
Let me see. Is that the opening night game right there?
Yeah. Oh,
Can
yeah,
you scroll
top.
down just a little bit?
Oh, no,
Oh, I
at
see
the
what you
top.
got.
Yeah, at the top is the opening
Okay.
night, and then I'll get to Christmas. Yeah.
Okay. So the opening night, we got the Lakers and the Nuggets.
So they're starting with 4 West teams, okay?
And the Phoenix Suns and Golden State Warriors.
I mean, it makes sense. You know what I'm saying? I mean, obviously, you got to have the champions play on opening night, with them getting the ring. So I think it's definitely necessary for the Nuggets to play on opening night. You got the best player in the league, and Jokic going up against one of the legendary players in NBA history, and LeBron James. So I think that does make a great opening night matchup. Then on top of that, to cap off the doubleheader, you got the Dubs going up against the new look Phoenix Suns with the new addition of Bradley Beal alongside Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. So there's gonna be a lot of offense. Man. I wouldn't be surprised if halftime is about in the 70s. So that's gonna be a lot of scoring there. Hopefully there's gonna be some defense plays. So I think it's a good opening night schedule. I mean, I'm kind of surprised there's not an East team on here, but besides that, I'm not too mad at it.
Yeah, the schedule.
CJ, what you got?
The West is still king. That's what I take from this league from Shams. Western Conference Finals rematch. I'm looking at that's going to be a great game. Obviously, Nick talked about, but yeah,
I didn't even think about that.
Facts. Suns Warriors. Yeah, I want to see what this new Suns team looks like. Adding Bradley Beal, kind of a big 3, big 4 type. However you want to put.
Oh shoot! And Chris Paul's going up against his old team. I forgot about that.
Chris Paul going up against Chris Paul going up against his old team, and I think it's going to be a great game. It's in Golden State too. The Chase Center is going to be rocking, as Nick knows. And
Nick knows.
See what Chris
that sounds like a segment right there.
We'll see how Chris Paul plays in the Golden State Warrior jersey. We just saw Jonathan Kuminga drop 60 at the crossover pro-am yesterday. Went crazy. I think he's primed for a really good season. So I think he's going to have a breakout year. Now that some shot opportunities will definitely open up now that Jordan Poole is on the Wizards. So I'm excited. I'm excited for that. Frank Vogel's first game as the head coach of the Suns, going up against a legendary head coach in Steve Kerr. I want to see that X's and O's battle. TNT too, so Shaq, Kenny, EJ, and then Charles. They're gonna have, a ball breaking this game down and talking about it. It's gonna be pure entertainment. I can't wait. October 24th. Let's get it.
October 24th. Okay. Yeah, I'm more excited about the second game than I am the first game, and it's not so much because it's the Lakers are in that. I just think the Suns and the Warriors is so many more different storylines that we got going on with that. Bill's first game with the Sun. You guys already alluded to everything of it. I don't want to keep repeating on this. So, yeah, super excited. I'll talk about the Christmas game. We got Milwaukee, the Knicks in a matchup on Christmas Day. Philadelphia, Miami, Boston, the Lakers, Dallas, Phoenix, Golden State, and Denver. Personally, I kind of felt like the Philly-Miami game was a little odd of a matchup just because right now we don't know what Miami is going to be. We are assuming that the Dame trade happens, but of course they've got to release the schedule, and they're probably assuming that as well. I know Boston, the Lakers, we know the matchup of that for years, for centuries. The Dallas and Phoenix, that one hesitated me a little bit too. You're going to like it, I'm assuming, but, last year's fallout makes me wonder how this is going to be. But I think it'll be a wonderful game to watch on Christmas just for the fact that you get Kyrie, you get Luka, and, of course, you get the whole Suns, everyone that they have as well. So I think overall it's a great matchup, though, as far as the 5 games that's going on there. But my only one that I was weird of, I'd like to see Milwaukee and Miami play because there's just a rivalry going on with all that. And I'd like to see the Knicks play Cleveland because I think that's going to be a big matchup for the head-to-head moving on as far as the seeding at the end of the year.
It's not a bad schedule. It's just so funny how, like, literally every year the Nuggets have the last game. The Nuggets will always have the last game every
10
year. I don't
o'clock.
know how. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how that's always possible. But I mean, hey, it is what it is. I mean, that's gonna be a good matchup as well. Denver going up against Golden State. Them having a home Christmas game is well deserving.
No
I'm
Spurs in
honestly
this.
kind of
I think
thinking.
we'd have some Wimby.
Nah, I'm good on that.
They gotta win. They gotta win.
Yeah, I was saying, yeah, no, I'm good. But honestly, I'm thinking the game of the day might be Dallas Phoenix. I think that one might be a really good matchup there. I mean, it's like you say, you got Luka, you got Kyrie, you got Bradley Beal, KD, Devin Booker. I think that one might be a really interesting matchup. I mean, there might still be some bad blood from what occurred in Game 7, 2022, but that was a totally different Suns team than what we have now. So overall, I mean, I'm not really too mad at it. I mean, I do kind of agree with you, Michael. I would love to see a Miami Milwaukee match just because it does spark a rivalry. So I mean, Christmas days are the games that where you want to see everybody at their best. And with a Miami Milwaukee matchup, you would definitely see the best out of guys like Jimmy, out of Giannis, out of a lot of these guys. Not saying that Jimmy's not going to bring his best against Philly. Not saying that Giannis is not going to bring his best against New York. But I don't know. I guess that matchup would have had more of a meaning to it. But for New York, I mean, I like it as well. I mean, they always have the early game on Christmas every year as well. But but just being able to see Jalen Brunson, being on. I had to fix it real quick. My bad. No shade at all towards Julius, man. That's my guy. But just being able to see Jalen Brunson, have another Christmas game as a number one option, I think that's going to be really good as well. I mean, I think the Knicks are going to be really good this year. I think the Knicks have a really good roster, so I'm really interested. So overall, I'm cool with these Christmas games. Christmas is always around the time where I think the NBA gets interesting. So I think with about a few months of teams, finding their chemistry and getting the legs underneath them. Then on top of that, we do have the new playing tournament, so they'll be ready to go. Coming into this matchup.
Yes, you took one of my points, man. This Christmas schedule falls right into the end season tournament that they're bringing in this year. So a lot is at stake, and this is stacked. This is a stacked Christmas Day game list here. These 5 games are great. You got Giannis in the Garden. It's just it doesn't really get any better than that. Honestly, I know you guys talk about Miami and Milwaukee, but you got a guy like Giannis Antetokounmpo at the world's most famous arena. It's like that's the most you could ask for, right there. Brunson's on the rise, establishing himself as being that guy, and making himself a well-known name, not just in New York but across the league. And he's going to continue to do that this year. Philly, Miami. I like Philly, Miami because let's not forget Jimmy Butler used to be a Philadelphia 76er, and they got some history there. Now it's unfortunate. I think this is James Harden in the picture, but I don't know. But it's unfortunate James Harden wants out because that'd be a great game. We got Harden and Embiid versus Jimmy, and as we hope and assume, Dame. That's a stacked game right there, and it's in Miami, deservedly so because they won the East. They deserve that home game, and that's just gonna be fireworks. It's gonna be fireworks either way. I'm a fan of this game. Boston Celtics and the Lakers have so much history. It's always a great game. Their games were close last year. We know that foul that wasn't called on LeBron in Boston in that overtime game when LeBron had 41. I went there. So those games are always close. That's going to be a great game. And the game of the night to me is Mavericks Suns. It just is, guys, because 2 years ago, Dallas upset Phoenix when they went 64-18 in the second round, and they think it's some bad blood there. Even that first game of Kyrie versus KD, with both of those guys in that jersey, Luka and Booker kind of got into it a little bit, and we know obviously the infamous meme photo of Luka smiling at smiling at Book at the free throw line 2 years prior. These teams, they don't like each other, and they've never liked each other, even when it was Dirk and Steve Nash, and also for Phoenix too. Shout out Amari and Sean Marion. Their jerseys going to get
Shout out to
up
those
in the
guys,
Raptors.
man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Their jerseys will be in the Raptors as well. I forgot to add that, but it's a little sidebar there. I want to see what Luka and Kyrie do against KD, Book, and Beal. I think it's going to be an exciting matchup. It's going to be a lot of scoring. Vogel preaches defense, but I don't know how much defense we're going to see in this one because you got a bunch of elite shot creators out there. That's going to be fireworks. And then to finish up the night, the champs going up against the former champs and the Golden State Warriors. So that's going to be exciting.
Champs,
yeah, exactly. The last two champs. So this is a great schedule. NBA, they always do the Christmas games, right? But I think this one, hopefully everyone can stay healthy. Fingers crossed. All these guys stay healthy, during this time, so we can see some great basketball for the holidays.
Hopefully they have better uniforms and no sleeves, right?
Nah.
Yeah, no sleeves.
The sleeves are never coming back.
It's over. Yeah,
the sleeves are never coming back.
I'm glad.
All right, let's move on to the next topic. We got some top 15 point guards and top 15 shooting guards. CJ, I know once again, as always, pulling up the graphics.
Is this current or all time?
This is current.
I am so thankful that you do these graphics for us, by the way, or have these pulled up from us from Twitter or whatnot. But guys, while he's pulling it up, I want to just go ahead and give another shout out. If you're going to any kind of ball game, stadiums, or whatnot, buying any kind of tickets, it's scrolling across the bottom right now. Use promo code MNC Hoops, and it will save you $20 off your very first purchase on SeatGeek. If you're going to SeatGeek to buy any kind of tickets, use that promo code again, MNC Hoops, and that'll save you $20.
All right, let's get to it here. We're going to start with the point guards. Let's get your reactions to this because I have a few.
All right, sounds good.
Reactions. Here we go. Hoops hype. Top 15 point guards going into next year. Luka, Steph, SGA, Ja, Dame, Trae Young, Halliburton, Fox, Harden, Jamal Murray, LaMelo Ball, Brunson, Kyrie. 13.
Oh, wow.
Darius Garland and Drew Holiday. Nick.
I'm so glad you said Nick first. Thank you.
So are we is Luka really listed as a point guard? Like, I don't know. I always viewed him as like a 3.
He is listed this year as a point guard for sure.
Okay, so he is a point guard. I don't know if I still have him number 1. I mean, that's just I don't know. I mean, he's probably top 3, but I don't know about number 1. Personally, I know this guy's been in a lot of trouble as of recent, but personally, I got Ja over SGA. That's just a preference thing. I mean, I think, what Ja's been able to do the past few years. I know that SGA is on the come up, especially after 30 this past year. SGA is sensational, but right now I do have Ja over SGA. Dame is a veteran at this stage in his career. We all know what he's done. Honestly, I don't know. I don't want to drop SGA too low though. Like, that's my thing. I don't want to drop him too low, but I might have to put Dame over him as well.
Is that it?
No, I mean, I'm my bad. I'm looking.
I just didn't want to. I didn't want to interrupt you if you were going there. I was just silent, so I didn't want to.
No, my bad. Personally, Jalen Brunson should be over LaMelo. I mean, that should be a given. I got Kyrie over LaMelo as well. And I mean, it's no knock to LaMelo. He's a great player, but you also got to think about his availability. I think he only played 30 something games this year. I gotta go back and look at the stats on Basketball Reference, but he hasn't been there throughout the course of this past year, but for the most part. I guess overall, I mean, those might be the only changes that I have in mind right now. I guess maybe as y'all talk and I look at this list, I might have to have a few other changes, but those are mine for right now. Okay,
I'm going to go ahead and say Luka is not number 1. No disrespect to Luka. I would have Curry at number 1 because Curry is Curry until Curry is not Curry. He's number 1. I would actually have SGA at number 2 and Luka at 3. Ja, to me, if he's out 25 games, and I'm not coming at you on this, Nick, but if Ball is hindered by his rating because he is out 33 games. Ja is automatically out 20 or 25 games next season, so he can't be 4, in my opinion. So I have him down. Trae Young is down on this list. I'm moving up. I'm going to keep Dame at 5. I'm going to move Fox at 4, Halliburton at 6. I'm going to have Jamal Murray above Harden at 8. And I'm going to have Brunson at 9, Kyrie at 10, then Harden at 11, and then I even have Garland up higher there. I guess I got Garland at 12. Then I'm going to have Ball and Drew Holiday. I think I switched that. So I've mixed this list up quite a bit. And it's a little bit of what they were doing at the end of last year, moving into next year. I don't know if they're trying to predict how they're going to finish on this list, or they're thinking going into this season, these are the best. But Luka is a great player. Don't get me wrong. I'm going to hinder him just a little bit by moving him down to 3 because he doesn't play defense as much. And SGA is a triple-double threat constantly. Steph Curry can pull from anywhere. Luka is unstoppable. But SGA is triple-double worthy every game. So that's why I have him above Luka.
Wait, hold on. You got Luka over SGA? I mean, you got SGA over Luka?
Yes, sir.
Wow.
Yes, sir.
I don't know about that one.
Triple-double. Luka averaged 33, 8. Well, not this year. He averaged like 38 and 8.
I'm still going to SGA this coming year. I think he was most improved
Kentucky
player.
Bias, CJ.
It probably is, but this Oklahoma, I mean, he's got Chet now with him. I think Oklahoma, I might be pulling a Pelicans high from last year to the OKC on this, but I'm riding the Thunder all season on this one.
All right, here we go. I got Steph Curry number 1 for sure, until that changes. I mean, Luka they didn't even make the playoffs last year.
You know who did? Oklahoma.
Steph Curry.
They didn't make the playoffs. I mean, they got they were playing tournament.
Play in.
Right.
Luka didn't even make the play in.
But it doesn't count. It doesn't. Neither of them made the playoffs.
The SGA made the play in, so he's better.
I mean, I disagree.
Carry on. I know you disagree with me. Go on.
I mean, I'll admit they were a game away from the playoffs until they lost to Minnesota, but it still don't count.
To me, play in is tournament, but
I got Steph 1, Luka 2. Yeah.
Boo.
3, 4, and 5. I think Dame is still better than Ja. Kyrie's better than Trae Young. Kyrie's better than Tyrese Halliburton to me. Fox could be high. I mean, Fox should be higher, in my opinion, because
there we go.
The season that they had. Yo, guys, Jalen Brunson is better than Trae Young. Listen. You want to talk about when you want to talk about efficiency. You want to talk about efficiency, right? It's not even close. You want to talk about not just shooting splits, turnovers. You know who led the league in turnovers last year? Trae Young. So that's what I'm saying. Like, he's a turnover machine. He's a great player, bro. He's a really good player. But give me Brunson any day of the week. And as the seasons go on, we'll see. We'll see. We'll definitely see that he's a better player, bro. And just off impact as well. So I think Brunson is better than Halliburton. I mean, it's close, but I mean, just look who's starting right now for USA team. Halliburton's coming off the bench. Trae Young's not even on the roster. Like, what are we really talking about? We're really talking about LaMelo. Special, talented, but has to stay healthy. He pretty much missed 2 years. Pretty much. I mean, like Nick said, pretty much missed 2 seasons. So, and he's also not efficient. He's not efficient.
He's not.
He has to work on that. He's 6'8". He should be much more efficient than what he is.
Wow, he's 6'8". I didn't realize that.
It's really based off of his decision making, though.
Well, those are gambles, though.
Yeah, you mean like shot selection, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah. Shot selection. Yeah, it's based off the shot selection, though. Kyrie, listen, man.
I don't care what the politics say, man.
This is not. We're talking hoops. If we're talking hoops,
exactly.
I got Kyrie over James Harden. What?
I'll be real. I personally, this is my opinion. I got Kyrie over Dame. That's just my personal opinion.
That's close.
That's a toss-up.
But see, that's close. But see, they got Dame 5 and Kyrie at 13.
That's just
So
hate.
it's like
Kyrie.
possible. I mean, it's possible because you saying going into next season. If we're going into next season, people are high on the Pacers. They think Halliburton's going to be really good. Fox, yes. SGA being top 3. Everybody's high on OKC. All of us are. Ja is going to miss time. So I feel like shouldn't he like drop a little bit because he's going to be out for a few games. It's not from a talent perspective, but it's just from a standpoint of just like
statistic.
Yeah, the numbers aren't really going to be there. We don't know what their record is going to look like because he's missing pretty much a quarter of the season. Lillard's still, and this is what I mean. That's why that's why I'm so confused as to why these guys don't want to see Lillard go to a contender because they got him 5. This guy scored 70 last year,
and they barely won. Yeah,
this guy scored 70 points in a game at 6'2". 6'2". Kobe scored 81 at 6'6", and Will Chamberlain scored 100 at 7'1". This guy scored 70 at 6'1", 6'2" inches, bro. Special top 2 shooter ever. And yeah, this is an interesting list, man. Obviously, you could say bias for me, but I don't see what does Trae Young do better than Jalen Brunson?
Shoot more. That's it. He shoots more.
Like
good shots though.
When we start getting this calls in, right? I really want to hear like Trae Young fans coming and let's debate that. I think that's a good debate. I don't see what he does significantly better than Jalen Brunson, man. I really don't. I really don't.
So okay,
he's a better 3-point shooter, and we all think Trae Young is a great shooter.
So just a quick question. So where is Trae Young on this list for you? Like out of everybody,
I don't think 6. I don't think 6.
So like, is he top 10 or is he like kind of below?
I think he's double digits in my opinion.
I'm taking Murray. I think Murray is a better shot creator.
Big Blue Nation.
He's more efficient as well. Harden is not top 10 to me. They say, hey, led the league in assists. That's cool, but again, I can't. You can't do the Men in Black. Change my memory on what I see from this guy in the playoffs. I just it's too much.
He said the Men in Black.
Okay, so for both of y'all, who's higher, Trae Young or De'Aaron Fox right now?
Fox.
Yeah.
Taking Fox?
Yeah.
Taking Fox. Now they're both of them aren't great 3-point shooters.
It's a toss-up for me. It's a toss-up.
And it's fine. I've never been a Trae Young fan.
But it's like, I definitely agree. Like, the efficiency isn't there because I'll be honest, Trae Young can knock down 3-point shots, but like I think a lot of people try to compare him to like the Steph Curry. He's nowhere near the shooter Steph Curry is. Like, let's go and get that out the way. But it's like I look at him, he's averaging like 27, 28, and 10, and it's like I can't just ignore that and say, yo, this guy isn't like a top point guard in the league. Like that's what I'm basing it off of.
He's top 15.
He's top 15. Give me that.
Yeah, it's close. It's close. 20
What's
10,
close?
In terms of like this list, like in terms of discrepancies between guys and then talent and things like that. But what I look for in a point guard is, and again, this era's point guard. 2 eras or era or 2 eras ago, point guard it'd be a little different. Not as much scoring, right? More facilitating. But now this era, it's everything else you want in a point guard plus scoring, right? So in that, I need efficiency, just like I need players that pass the ball and don't turn the ball over. Brunson doesn't turn the ball over. He just doesn't turn the ball over, man. He's not a guy that turns the ball over at a high rate. And like I said, Trae Young led the league in turnovers last year. And also what I look for great players too is can you play off the ball? And Trae Young can't play off the ball.
But see, that's the thing, because like I feel like he may be better off the ball. Because here's the thing, like whenever they did acquire DeJounte Murray, I personally thought that was going to be the formula. You're going to allow DeJounte to be the primary playmaker, and allow Trae Young to move off the ball. Like, I mean, I feel like he can be more effective off the ball, but I don't know what it is. You know, I think who was the coach? Nate Miller at the time, he didn't want to do that, and then of course now they got what's the guy's name from Utah?
Quinn Snyder,
the new head coach.
Snyder.
Yeah, Quinn Snyder now. To me, I feel like he can be effective, but it's like I don't think they want to utilize him to that rate. Because I mean, I want to say Trae Young probably has one of the highest usage rate in the NBA right now.
Right. That's what I'm saying. He has the basketball in his hands. Like, okay, how effective is he without the basketball? We saw Jalen Brunson play off the ball with Luka. They went to the Western Conference Finals. 41% catch and shoot threes his last year in Dallas. Top 2 3-point percentage catch and shoot last year with the Knicks. And that's what he's playing with guys that can't shoot. He's the best shooter on the team. So he can't play off the ball because if he does, the other guys can't shoot. The other guys can't. He has to have the basketball in his hands because who else is going to be able to shoot at a high clip and an efficient clip in New York, as we saw against Miami? Look at that game 6. Game 6 to tell you everything you need to know about the team. So, you know, like I said, Kyrie at 13. To me, Kyrie's better than James Harden, man. In a point scoring level, efficiency level. And like I said, Harden is special and he has his style. But I like Kyrie as a better finisher, better shot creator. I would like to see. I mean, at this stage, with Luka kind of having the basketball a little bit more, he won't really be that. You know, he could go out there and get 25 and 10. It's not difficult for him to do that. But he's played with guys like Luka, like LeBron, that need the basketball in their hands a little bit more. So he's willing to play off the ball too. He's played with KD. He's played with players better than him, and it's worked, and especially in Cleveland. So. It's a good list. These are obviously the top 15. Garland is on the rise, for sure. But I think it's and for Murray, like I said, Murray, he needs to duplicate what he did in the postseason, in the regular season as well, and in the postseason. You do a combination of both. Now you're in the top 5. That because that's what Curry does. Curry does both regular season and postseason. SGA. We see in the regular season. We see the regular season part. Now we're assuming next year we'll see the postseason part as well, which is why going into the season we got him top 3. Luka went to the conference finals. Ja was right there, but again he's going to miss time. Dame's been to the Western Conference Finals. Trae Young has been in the conference finals as well, but his last 2 years haven't been his best years. They've been playing teams over the last 2 years, so. Yeah, man, good list. This is the top 15, but my order's a little bit different, man.
Let's go ahead and bring up the shooting guard because we still got a lot to dive into. We're at almost 11 o'clock.
All right, let's do it. Shooter.
I can already tell you, Donovan Mitchell is too low on this list, and I've not even seen it yet. Nick, real quick, while this hasn't pulled up, where can we find your new podcast at?
Follow For the Love of the Game at Love of TG Ball on Twitter, or excuse me, X. I keep saying Twitter. I gotta get used to saying X. Yes, follow For the Love of the Game at Love of TG Ball on X. Whole lot of content on there: NBA, WNBA, Big Three, college, you name it.
Right, here we go. Top 15 shooting guards, hoops hypes. Top 15. Got Booker at 1, Ant 2, Donovan Mitchell, Jaylen Brown, Zach, Tyrese Maxey, Desmond Bane, Bradley Beal, DeJounte Murray, Tyler Hero, Jalen Green, CJ McCollum, Klay Thompson, Austin Reeves, and Anthony Simons.
I'll tell you right now, they better put Austin Reeves a little bit higher. 14 is crazy.
So where?
That's
I'll be honest. I got Austin Reeves over Tyler Hero right now. I got him over DeJounte Murray.
Wow.
So yeah, he can probably fit in that number 9 slot for me personally. Another thing is personally, I got Maxey over Zach LaVine. Not a knock to Zach LaVine. I like him as a player, but I don't know. I don't know if Zach LaVine's top 5 necessarily as of right now, but that's just me. Besides that, I definitely think that Book is. I'm just being real. I think that Book is number 1. Ant-Man is on his way up. I definitely yes, I do have Anthony Edwards over Donovan Mitchell. I think people underrate Anthony Edwards to a degree. I mean, I think he's elevating as an offensive talent. Then on top of that, I think defensively he's taking I think he took a leap this past year as well. Not a knock to Donovan Mitchell because I like what Donovan Mitchell's doing in Cleveland, but right now, just a personal preference, I got Ant-Man right now. But overall, those are probably the small adjustments that I'll probably make on this list.
I'm looking something up, CJ, so go ahead.
Okay. Yeah. Top five looks good to me. It looks good to me, man. Maxey, we got to see him more in an elevated role for me to put him as a top 5 shooting guard, but he's right there at 6. So it's not like he's that far off. And I think, depending on what happens with Harden and everything, he might end up being the point guard. So he might not even end up being on this list. He might end up being on the point guard list next year. But top 5 looks good. 6 through 10. Yeah, Beal. I think Beal's better than Bane, but for Beal, it's just a matter of. I think Beal's better than Desmond Bane, and Tyrese Maxey. He should be number 6 to me. And
I think Beal better than LaVine too, honestly.
That's what I'm saying. Like that's the good debate. So like that. So since that, I feel like he should be higher than Bane and Maxey for sure. Now, if you're looking at it from a standpoint as like, okay, he's going to be the 3rd option. He's not going to get as much shots. So his points, he might not have as many points. Bane's going to probably have a higher point per game because he'll probably be the first option now that Jaw's out. Okay. There's obviously no context to this list. It's just a list and that's it. Maybe there's a website we can look. I think there's a link underneath here, but where they kind of dive more in depth into their reasoning. But from a talent perspective, I would still take Beal over the 2 guys ahead of him. DeJounte Murray, yeah, that looks good to me. He's better than Hero. Jalen Green, I think with Udoka coaching him, he's going to continue to get better. He's going to continue to get better. He'll elevate in this list for years to come. I'm very confident in that because he has a great head coach now. McCollum McCollum and Clay, a little bit older, but still could get it done at times. So I think that looks good to me. I think the reason why they're over Reeves is because people need to see, another year of Austin Reeves. He got the bag, solidified starting shooting guard for the Los Angeles Lakers, and playing well. Had a great second half going into the postseason. We've raved about Reeves over the last few months on the show. I think he will improve and get better. Maybe down the road, I could definitely see him in the top 10. But right now, I think 14 is cool. Just because the 2 guys ahead of him have had a better resume, and 15, Anthony Simons is a young player on the rise. Him and Scoot Henderson are going to do some special things in Portland.
Okay, CJ, I don't know if you can pull this up real quick or if you remember it, but can you tell me what 2K had Anthony Edwards ranked?
I don't care about no 2K ratings, man.
Oh, it was 86. Okay, it was 86. Donovan Mitchell. Do you remember what they had Donovan Mitchell ranked at? 92. Oh, did you say 92, 93, 92? Mitchell is the number 2, guys. I'm sorry on this list. Like it's hands down.
When have you been so high on Mitchell? I don't remember this.
When? I went out and bought his rookie cards last year. You don't remember me all season last year?
You got a lot of cards. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I mean, that's true. But if you can go back and look, I've got receipts on those actually. I was been really high on him, saying that he would be an MVP candidate last year as my dark horse because being traded, new environment, about said atmosphere and environment together. So I still think he will be the number 2 shooting guard this year. Jaylen Brown. I'm not going to. I'm just going to leave him there. Just going to leave him there. LaVine is good.
He's 4, yeah. There's no argument there.
Yeah. I do like Maxey over LaVine just because I'm expecting a little more out of Maxey because I don't think that Harden will be there. So I do think he'll be playing more. Bane, I'm okay with the rating of Bane here because I think production-wise, it's going to be much better. He's been taking leaps and bounds each year. I think he should have won the MIP when his teammate Ja won it. But I think it's a little high with some of the players behind him. I do agree with what you guys said. Bill should be way up there. Tyler Hero, he just dropped 44 points, I think, in a game. He's looking good, but we don't even know where he's going to be playing. I think it's just a lot of just mentality that he's pissed and he's trying to play well. So I don't want to say that I think he's ranked too high here. I would move Austin Reeves up. Well, I'm going to say it. I would move Jalen Green, Colum, Thompson, and Reeves up and probably put Tyler Hero at 14 because we don't know where he's going to be playing at. Reeves, to me, I'm hesitant on him. I think he's a sound ball player. I think he's a coach player, if that makes sense. He's a coach's boy in a way. It's what he seems like. Like he knows everything that's going to go on mentally. But what I'm afraid of, if he was a number 2 option for another team or just on another team, would we really know much about Austin Reeves? He's playing with the Lakers with AD and LeBron James. All the attention there. He's a third option with that. He's not going to have a lot of the focus on. And I'm not dogging him because I like him as a player. So I don't know if I want to say he's really higher up until I can see that he can actually be getting some of these buckets that he got paid for. So I'm hesitant on where I'm putting him. That's all I'm saying. I want to watch. I want to observe a little bit more from what to expect from him because he's a sound player. Don't get me wrong, but I just don't know if we can say like top 10 and him being productive. Because when you got Anthony Davis and LeBron James on your team, you can be good and look better than what you really are because all schemes are going to be focused on those two a lot. But other than that, I'm okay with it. Mitchell, number 2.
That's your number 2. Yeah, it's really splitting hairs. I like Mitchell's a better scorer. There's another guy that scored 70 last year. I got you there, but from a defensive perspective, it's close, man. It really is. It's really close between Everett and Mitchell. I'd probably favor Everett just because of the defense. Man.
2K favors Mitchell. Just saying.
6'5", yeah, that's fine. 6'5". They also got Jamal Murray at under a 90, so it's like give and take.
I know.
Yeah,
it only works for me, so I'm using it.
Yeah, 6'6" can play. I think he's gonna excel, man. Booker and Ant, those two guys are gonna be battling for best shooting guard for the next decade. All right.
What's up next for our topics here? Let me scroll over here. Are we going with the top 5 duos next?
Yes, sir.
If we did a top 3 or a top 5 trios, like we would be number 1. We know that.
Of course.
But I'm going to give my selfish plug real quick since, I called on you, Nick, last time while CJ's pulling us up. Guys, I have started a new podcast. Hopefully you have seen it somewhere, more on Facebook than Twitter. But if you don't care, go follow us. Cats Chat, also Cats Chat Pod on most of the way you link the hashtags for it. But we are in episode 3 now, and we've had Jeff Shepard. It's all Kentucky basketball or Kentucky sports. We have Jeff Shepard, who is the father to Reed Shepard, who is on the current team, and also he's won the championship back in 96 and 98 with Kentucky. And then just last week, we had Coach Vince Morrow on the team, I think he's the associate head coach just underneath Stoops. He was on the show on Wednesday. So go check those out. One of our videos on Facebook alone had 1.1 thousand views, and we do appreciate all the love on that. Also just got a sponsorship, by the way.
Let's go. Congrats, my brother. Congrats,
nice. Thank you.
Cats Chat.
Thank you.
On all social medias, X, Facebook, YouTube as well.
Thanks.
Let's get it.
I'm kind of confused as to why is there like a space between like 1 and 2 and then 3, 4, and 5 are like, I don't know. That's weird.
Yeah, that was weird. I don't know why. NBA Central did it that way. But yeah, this is top 5 duos in the NBA according to Bleacher Report. Number 1, you got Kevin Durant and Devin Booker. Number 2, you got Giannis Antetokounmpo and Drew Holiday, not Chris Middleton.
Where's Chris Middleton?
Yeah.
Oh,
Interesting
That's
there.
crazy.
Number 3, you have the champions, Nikola Jokic and Jamal Murray. 4 is LeBron and AD. And 5, Luka Doncic, Kyrie Irving. Michael, what's your thoughts?
I think the spacing that you were confused by was supposed to be in backspace or delete, and they messed up and just went with it. As far as 1, 3, 4, and 5, you could really put those on any order and any given night. I think it would be okay. I do like Kevin Durant and Devin Booker at 1. I would be fine with having Jokic and Murray at 1 as well, and having Booker at Durant and Booker at 2. LeBron and AD, I'm going to keep them at 3 just for the fact is someone's maybe not playing on every night. AD is Anthony Davis, LeBron James. Sometimes he's got to rest. So I think it should be 1. I'm going to go 1 Jokic and Murray, 2 Kevin Durant, Booker, 3 LeBron and AD, 4 Luka and Kyrie, and 5 I'm going to go with Butler and Giannis and Drew Holiday for this list here. Actually, I guess it would be Butler and Dame's who it should be. But
my question is, go ahead, Nick.
Just real quick, personally, you got to go with the Joker and Jamal Murray number 1. I mean, especially with the way that they were able to both, show that chemistry on full display as far as winning a championship, and on top of that, they in the process of winning a championship, they defeated the team that they have listed at number 1. Along the way to winning the championship. So I got Jokic and Murray at number 1, and then I'll probably put personally I got LeBron and AD at number 2. That's just my opinion. Then 3 I'll probably go with Booker and KD. 4 I'll probably go just for right now Luka and Kyrie, and then 5 I'll go Giannis and Drew. But personally I don't really view Drew in that duo. I kind of have Middleton in there, but that's just me.
Where's Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum?
Oh, that's true.
Oh.
Yeah. I didn't even think about that.
What works there? What?
Honestly, bro, put Jaylen Brown and Jason Tatum over Luka and Kyrie.
They just made a duo. They just put somebody with Giannis. It was like, here, Drew. Like no one ever said.
These are people that they are paying to give us basketball content.
6 figures, bro.
Crazy.
that's crazy. That really is.
Get your money.
Bleacher Report, cut me a check.
Get your
Or cut us a check. Excuse me.
I'm not counting pockets.
Thank you, Nick. I appreciate that.
Yeah, my top 5 is Jokic and Murray, Brown and AD, Tatum and Brown.
Okay, you're adding to okay.
Yeah, that's mine. Yeah, because bro, how do you not have Tatum and Brown on this list? From what they've done since
that's crazy.
Since 2018. Are you kidding me? It's laughable. Now, if they're going, the way they did it was better players matched up together. That doesn't necessarily make them a great duo. So, so I got Tatum and Brown 3. 4, KD and Booker. I mean, they made the playoffs, and Luka and Kyrie didn't. So I guess that'll be my 4 and 5. I don't consider Giannis and Drew Holiday. They're not a duo. No one in the NBA or people in the NBA that talk about the game have never said, yo, Giannis and Drew, one of the best duos in the league. No one's ever said that. So
I want to say one time y'all came at me because I actually said Giannis, and I think that Drew Holiday might be a little bit better than Chris Middleton.
No.
I think y'all came at me, and y'all changed my mind.
When we did that debate, like I was like, it's close. I was saying it was close between those two, and it was close between impact on both of those guys and them winning the championship because they needed Drew's defense and they needed Middleton's shot creation. So it's like they're not. Giannis doesn't have a. I mean, you could say Middleton, but I definitely don't view Antetokounmpo and Holiday as a duo. No one's ever said, yo, Giannis and Drew making things happen. No one's ever said that.
I mean, I'd even say Embiid and Harden before that, I think.
I was going to ask y'all, does a duo like Jimmy and Bam kind of like kind of like fall into this list or like an honorable mention?
I'd have them.
I think so.
Right. Listen. Like if you want to say Giannis and Middleton, because they've been teammates together longer than Drew. Okay, I'd probably have them 6, and then I'd have Jimmy and Bam 7.
Where would you have Jimmy and Dame?
I mean, we got to see them. We got to see them play. But I'd probably just replace Bam in that scenario, just because we haven't seen them play. But if they play and have success, then yeah, they'll obviously move higher. They could be higher than KD and Book and Luka and Kyrie based on team success and with them being together as a duo. That's what I'm looking at. Yeah, like okay, this list is just like the better players. Like you got to have KD and Giannis. That's what they're like. I just felt like they did this list like you got to have Giannis in there because he's the top 2 player in the world. So let's just group him with the second or third best player on his team. That's not a duo. So again,
what about the Splash Brothers?
Top 10, yeah, of course, top 10. But again, like Clay at this stage, he struggled against the Lakers. But I'm not going to sit here and dog him out for one bad series. I mean, he didn't have a great series against Sacramento either. But I'm not going to dog. This is like his. He came back last year, won a chip. Helped them win a chip. They needed him to win that chip. They weren't going to the finals without him. And so, yeah, it's still top 10 for sure. For sure, definitely. But where is Clay right now? Like, are we considering Clay as like, they got him, we just saw the list. They got him as bottom
yeah, like
15.
Probably like 14 or 15 or something like that.
Yeah, so,
or 13.
Yeah, they're definitely still a top 10 duo in the NBA. And then to round up the top 10 for me, I mean, and Cat.
And Cat. What about Brunson and Randall?
Not top 10. Not even close to top 10.
I'm trying to think. Sabonis and De'Aaron Fox. Yep. Possibly SGA and Chet, depending on what we see this year.
SGA and Giddey, I would say.
Oh yeah, SGA and Giddey.
I would say SGA and Giddey. They're gonna be up there.
Garland and Mitchell.
If these 2 guys could ever actually play together, no question Zion and BI, but they don't play.
Yeah, they don't see the floor together.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If they were playing, they'd definitely be up there. That's 25, 27 respectively, but in activity. So I can't do it. I just can't, bro. I'm not going to be fooled again.
Right. Yeah, they definitely messed up this list. Let's just be honest.
This is Bleacher Report, bro. This is supposed to be like one of the top media. How do you not have the team that was just in the Eastern Conference Finals last year? The year before, they were in the finals. The year before that, they were in the Eastern Conference. Like, what? How do you not have Brown and Tatum in your top 5 duos in the NBA?
That's crazy.
Yeah, that's messed up.
On top of that, like they went to the NBA Finals last year. They've been to the Conference Finals together like 4 or 5 times.
4 or 5 times. You got 2 duos here that were just put together in February.
Yeah.
What's up with these guys, man?
Yeah.
Like I know you want to get clicks and interactions. I get that's the name of the game in this era, in this space that we're in, but objectivity is key.
You gotta add the knowledge, man.
Yeah, like what's up with this, bro? It's just lazy to me. This is lazy analysis. But let's dive into the Southeast Division.
There we go.
Top 3 teams. We're gonna start with the top 3 teams in the Southeast Division. We're gonna go with the Hawks. We saw the Miami Heat, the Hawks, and the Washington Wizards. We're just gonna do a quick little preview of these teams, guys, going into next season. I think 2 out of these 3 teams are, I think, going to be in the playoffs / play-in. However you 2 guys rank it, and how we rank it. But they got some special players, and let's. And I think the Wizards, rebuild, but got some key young guys that I think can make some noise too. So here we go.
Hawks and Wizards.
You gotta blow my screen up for this.
All right, let's start with the Eastern Conference champions, Miami Heat. Michael, man, what have you seen? Let's real fast. Let's talk about the season last year, the success that they had. We know their offseason's kind of up in the air right now, and what you see what might happen going forward.
Just as far as last season, a lot of players and a lot of key players missed a lot of games. Well, I said a lot of many times right there. Missed a ton of games throughout the regular season. They came into the playoffs and an 8 seed. Of course, everyone knows the storyline. Butler became Hemi Butler, and Tyler Hero was out first game in the playoffs with a broken hand, I think it was. And just a lot of different players stepped up. You had Martin, you had Vincent, and who else? But Strus stepped up tremendously during the playoffs, and they made it to the NBA Finals. What a wonderful Cinderella story to make it and then get beat by the Denver Nuggets. That's fine. So the reason why I say a lot of injuries, I think this team kind of went unnoticed because of the injuries. I think they had the least amount of time playing as a whole team as far as healthy in the roster. But during the offseason, of course, we've had quite a few of our super playmakers exit, go elsewhere, get a bag, if you will. Strus, I think he signed with Toronto, didn't he? Cavs. And then Vincent, I think he went to the Lakers. They still, I don't think, have signed Martin yet, but that's what the holdup, or at least the understanding is going to be, that they wanted to keep Martin back. And, of course, everyone knows if you watch anything in the NBA, Dame wants to play in Miami, and that's the bottom line. Hero's probably going to be traded during that. Duncan Robinson had a wonderful playoff run and reamped his career up, or his value for teams to trade for. So we don't know what's going to go on there. But as far as right now, as far as expectations, last year they won 44 and 38 games. I think they'll probably – I'm going by what I know right now. I think this is going to be possibly very close to the same record of the 40 – I'm going to say, if I have to give a team or a number, I'm going to say 42 games this year. And that's not saying that Dame is on the team.
Okay.
So I'm just – the only thing I really know to do in this situation is – this is what we currently – these are the cards we're dealt. Now, if the addition to Dame on this, I think they're a 50-plus team or a 50-win team. I just worry about what they have to give up. But with Eric Spoelstra as the coach, he makes everyone who's undrafted relevant on a team. So I'm not worried so much about the depth, because he's going to get the guy in there and have them buy into the system very well. Haslam hopefully will be a coach soon, since he retired, and Nick doesn't care about him at all. But, I think Miami's going to be, again, the number 1 seed in this division, the Southeast division, though. You want me to stop with Miami?
Yeah. We're just right now.
Okay.
Miami was very interesting because obviously they got up to a really slow start. They were a team that I mentioned as a team that didn't really make a lot of transactions in the previous offseason to really elevate the team, especially when you're looking at Boston making moves, we're looking at Philly make moves, Milwaukee's making moves, and it seemed like Miami's just kind of stagnant at being at where they were at. And throughout the first portion of the season, I was like, look, Miami didn't really necessarily get better. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, they got a lot of the undrafted players. We all know what Spoelstra has a history of, allowing those guys to become better versions of themselves. But I felt like they didn't do enough to really allow themselves to be true contenders in the Eastern Conference. But playoff Jimmy happened. And when you have a guy of that caliber who can put a team on his back, and then, of course, allow others to be better, you're going to win every time. So, kudos to Jimmy Butler. He kind of, saved the season for Miami, leading the way of them getting to the NBA Finals. Unfortunately, they did end up coming short. But, with the way that they were able to play in this postseason, I feel like Miami should definitely be a destination for any free agent, for any all-star caliber player who may want out. That's why a lot of people are mentioning, Damian Lillard looking to go there, not only because of his relationship with Bam Adebayo, but just because, they impact winning. They have a winning culture there. They're like people talk about the Heat culture for a reason. Eric Spoelstra, what he's doing over there is not a fluke whatsoever. You know what I'm saying? So I think Miami should definitely be an attractive destination for any team. And I love the direction that they're going now. I don't like the fact that they got rid of guys or that they lost guys like Max Strus and Gabe Vincent. Those are two important pieces to that rotation. But we'll just have to see what they could possibly get in this Dame package, and then see, if they could possibly sign some other possible role players to add to that team. But besides that, I like the direction that the team is going in.
It was a struggle. It was a struggle this season before the playoffs with the Miami Heat. They were one of the lowest scoring offenses in the league. They had lost one of those playing games against Atlanta, and people kind of counted them out. A lot of people counted them out. They didn't think they needed some help. They needed to do something. They needed to make a move. That was the narratives before that game against the Bulls, and Jimmy went off 32 in Miami, and it's like everybody forgot about that. And because of how well they played in the playoffs, got through the Bucks, the number one seeded Bucks, being the AFC, cruised past the Knicks, had a hell of a series against the Celtics where it looked like they almost let it slip, but was able to capitalize and get it done in Game 7. And in the finals, they were just outmatched from a talent perspective against Jokic and Murray. Going in the offseason, their offseason was disappointing. I know they have, there's this mindset that they have where it doesn't matter who we have, we'll make it work because of Coach Spo, and with Butler and Bam at the top, everybody else will follow. It's good, but how, and again, I'm going to say how sustainable is that? It's been pretty sustainable. But again, in order to win a championship, something that they haven't been able to accomplish, you need the talent. You need the talent and the scheme to win a championship. And I think, depending on, we'll see what happens. I think they get it done. If it's not at the start of the season, or before the season starts, I think it'll be done at the trade deadline.
Mm-hmm.
I just think it's inevitable. Dame wants to go to Miami. They want him. There really isn't any other team out there that's trying to get Dame. So we'll see what happens. But you look at their depth chart as it stands today. You got Tyler Hero at the 1, Josh Richardson at the 2, who they brought back, Jimmy Butler at the 3, Kevin Love at the 4, Bam Adebayo at the 5. Then in your second unit, you got Kyle Lowry, Duncan Robinson, Caleb Martin, Haywood Highsmith, and newly acquired center Thomas Bryant. And then you got your 2 young players in Jaime Jaquez Jr. and Nikola Jokic. Those 2 guys may be on the team. 1 or 2 of those guys may not be on the team, depending on what happens and what occurs in the moving forwards with the Damian Lillard trade. Thomas Bryant, solid pickup. I think this is an opportunity where he'll get some more minutes. He wanted some more minutes in LA, didn't happen. So he went to Denver, didn't get any minutes, but he's a champion. He's still a champion, won a chip with the Nuggets. I mean, he's showing a body to Jokic every day in practice. It's something. I mean, listen, I know it's not, to a casual, it's like, oh, this guy's, this is just a bench player that doesn't play, gets DMPs. But in practice, you got to show Jokic and those other guys good work. You got to show them good work so they can be prepared and well equipped going into a game, especially a playoff game. So I think for Miami, I think this was a good pick for them. Maybe he'll be able to, show his talents a little bit more in Miami since the depth isn't that high. And of course, Bam is going to get the majority of the minutes, but he could come in and kind of do his job if need be. So the roster. It's like, they don't look great, but again, they were just in the finals. So, once you get there, it's just first to 4, right? It's just the first to 4. And they've been able to do that over these last 4 years at a pretty great clip. And regardless whether they get Dame or not, I think they're a playoff team. Mm-hmm. And we'll see what happens, but for sure, they're definitely going to be the number 1 seed. The number 1 team in the Southeast Division for sure. All right, let's get to the Atlanta Hawks. We'll start with Nick.
Real quick, hang on. Oh, yeah. I want to go ahead and give me a prediction on wins. I'm going to write this down.
Okay. With Dame, I'm going to say – 40, 50, maybe 48, 49 with Dame. Without Dame, I see it kind of being 45, 46. I kind of see it being the same. because we know Jimmy Butler, he kind of coasts a little bit in the regular season, and they kind of get guys. They don't load manage, but they just they don't really show everything. They don't show their hand in the regular season as much, and that can kind of hurt you sometimes. You can miss the playoffs like that sometimes, but they're not one of those teams. They know how to figure it out towards the end and the back half, and that's what they did. So I'll say with Dame 40, 49, 50. Without, I'm going to say 46.
What about you, Nick?
I'll say with Dame, I'll probably give them exactly 50. I mean, but it depends though. Like, if they get him before the season, then possibly so. But if they possibly get him, like, I don't know, January, something like that, then it may be a different story. But I'm going to predict this: if he comes in before the season, I'll give him 50 wins, 50 and 32. And then if not, if they don't have Dame, I'll probably say like 40, like same record that they had last year, 44 and 38.
Okay. Just vocally, I'm going to go with 51 with Dame and 45 without Dame.
Okay. All right. So those are our predictions. And talking about the Heat, let's get to the Atlanta Hawks. We're going to start with Nick. Obviously covers the Hawks for SI. Man, give us your thoughts on this team and the outlook going into the season.
Man, I mean, it's kind of like what we're talking about Miami, man. I mean, they didn't really make a lot of transactions to really help the team elevate. I mean, they traded away John Collins. He's in Utah now, but they got back Rudy Gay. Well, now Rudy Gay's in OKC now. So the question is, what is the direction of this team, possibly where they're going within like the next few years? And I think that's the biggest question that's up for debate. I mean, obviously Trae Young is still an all-star caliber player. You still got guys like DeAndre Hunter, like Clint Capella, DeJounte Murray. So, I mean, you still do have some valuable players, but is this team going to be enough to overpower a lot of the top contenders in the East, like a Philly, like a Boston, Milwaukee, even Miami to a degree? So I'm really interested to see where the front office is really taking this team, especially, I mean, and the reason why I say over the next few years is because we're watching teams like Orlando on the rise. We're watching teams like Detroit that's on the rise. Like, what I'm saying? Like, I mean, I've been on record saying that Detroit is at least another year or two removed from really being, kind of playoff bound. So, and I'm watching them progress, with their young talent, and seeing how they've been able to excel, especially if Cade comes back for a full season. So, the Hawks is really interesting, and I must say, at least from a fan's perspective and a guy who's been watching them up close, I haven't really been too impressed with with their transactions over the summer. Mm-hmm. And honestly, I don't want it to get to a situation where Trae Young is going to want out, because I feel like Trae Young can be the centerpiece around that team. I mean, we've already seen that he's gotten into a conference finals in years past, so I just don't want it to get to that point to where he grows frustrated with the organization, because at the end of the day, I mean, they're barely making the play-in tournament, and then they have to scrap their way into the playoffs. So hopefully, I mean, like I said, the offseason is not over yet, so maybe there can be some signings happening within like the next few weeks before training camp. But overall, throughout this offseason, it's kind of been more of a disappointment to
me. Yeah.
I'm sorry.
Okay. All right. Yeah, so looking at their depth chart as it stands today, going into the 23-24 season, Trae Young, DeJounte Murray, DeAndre Hunter, Sadiq Bey, Clint Capella. Second unit, they got Kobe Buffkin, but it might be Patty Mills. We'll see. Bogdan Bogdanovic, AJ Griffin, Jalen Johnson, and Onyeka Okongwu as the top 11, top 10 players on that team. Quentin Snyder's the head coach now, defensive-minded head coach for a full season. Had him for pretty much half a season last year, going into the playoffs. Was able to win 2 games against the Celtics, where I thought there'd probably be, maybe be a gentleman's sweep or something like that. But they were able to get two wins off the Celtics in that first round. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna be honest, guys. I just feel like they need. I don't think DeJounte Murray is a number 2 option. I think they need a solid number 2. I'm looking at the team up north, man, in Toronto. I think they might need to try to do something to try to get a guy, try to get Siakam. think bringing in Siakam would work well. You just lost John Collins, like Nick said, to Utah. Then you bring in someone like Siakam, who's defensive minded, be great on the pick and roll, pick and pop. Should work well with a guy like Trae Young in that system with Quinn Snyder. And I think they can excel here. But if they don't get another, they need another all-star type guy at the 3 or 4 position because you need a star and versatility at that role. Because you look at, we just talked about Miami, Jimmy Butler, small forward, Tatum and Brown, small forward, shooting guard, 6'6" plus. You need guys that could defend. You need players that could defend those guys. DeAndre Hunter, we've been high on him on the show over the last year or so, but I'm waiting for him to take that next step. We just haven't seen it yet. I don't know. Sometimes just like, hey, maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe just going to be a solid 3-and-D guy. Who knows? That's up to him whether he wants to what he wants to be in his career. So until that happens, I think they need to get another all-star type player at that position, 6'8" and up. That's very versatile. I don't see Toronto really. Unless they could shock us and be a darling and win a bunch of games and be successful this year. I don't really see it. So I think the Hawks should kind of be aggressive and try to see what's going on. Man, you got rid of Collins, who was a kind of dynamic type power forward, but wasn't great defensively. I think bringing in someone like Pascal Siakam could do great for them. Looking at their young guys, Griffin, Johnson, and Okongwu. I think Okongwu is going to continue to improve. I think he's going to continue to get better. Obviously, you got Capella there, so he won't start. But the things that he does on the court at that backup 5 position, I think he's one of the best backup centers in the NBA. For sure, what he brings defensively from an offensive rebounding standpoint, does a great job of that, just like Clint Capella does in the starting lineup. Bogdan used to be a starter, but because of his defense, he went back to that 6-man role. I think that's best for him. I think he'd be solid, in charge of the second unit. He could do whatever. He could score, pass, do a little bit of everything. Without DeJounte and Trae being out there, he has more freedom to kind of, be a scoring playmaker type guy. And I'm looking at AJ Griffin. AJ Griffin had a Duke, young guy, still a really young player, solid floor spacer, was brought in for defense. Looking for him to make that next step too. Obviously, like I said, Quinn Snyder, that's what he emphasizes. So you're gonna look for players that are gonna be able to make stops. Jalen Johnson looked pretty good to me in spurts last year as well. Another Duke player. So you got 2 guys from Duke. Coach K coached. So they got some high IQ there, and I'm looking for those guys to make a next step, and they're gonna need that because they're gonna have to be a collective. They have their top 2 guys in the backcourt, but we know backcourts you need more than that. We've seen when's the last time we've seen a backcourt win a chip? Splash Brothers, right? So it's gonna come down to more than that. It's gonna have to be 15 for this team, like the Heat. So everybody's gonna have to contribute at a high level for this team. So my win prediction for the Hawks this year, as it stands, I'll say 43 wins. Still a playing team. To me, I didn't see them making any significant changes. Now, pending a trade here that may happen before the season starts, that obviously change some things. But right now, I'm going to say 43 wins for the Hawks.
What about you, Nick? Wins?
I'll probably say 42.
42. I'm actually going to be different on the Hawks. As I've told y'all in the past and even present, just this episode, Trae Young just doesn't do it for me. And even listening to you talk there, CJ, it reminds me of the North team that you're talking about that they want to possibly do a trade with. The Toronto, when they had DeRozan and Lowry. They were great teams, but they just were small at the guard. And LeBron would always be like, hey, it's just bully ball, and you're not going to get past when you have size. I think Bear Bryant said it in football once. Your X can be just as good as my O, but if my O is bigger than your X, you're not doing anything. And it just kind of relates to this. There's not much size through the team, and especially the leadership. The superstars are not those 3-4 positions that you said. I'm really going to be repeating mostly what you all say, so I'm just going to kind of wrap it up. Atlanta, I think they're going to be under 40 wins this season. I'm going to have them at 38.
Okay.
And you'll understand a little bit in just a why possibly, because somebody's either improving and going to steal some of these wins, or it's just going to be the same. So I guess I'll kind of go on into that since we've all talked about Atlanta. I'm actually kind of liking Washington, what we've done a little bit here. Jordan Poole, and during the offseason, of course, traded away from Golden State, coming in now as possibly their number one option. Of course, they still have Kuzma as well on the roster. Let's see here. Tyus Jones at point guard, coming into his 8th season, I think. One person I worry about, but I think is a good player if he's healthy, is Gallinari. They have him on the team. Of course, he didn't play. I don't think he played at all last year, right? He something with a leg, I believe.
It's towards ACL.
Yeah, ACL. So we don't know how.
He to Boston, didn't he?
Yeah, that was last year, but he didn't play last year. Remember, because he got towards ACL. He's on the Wizards now.
Yeah, he's on the Wizards right now, and if he's able to be relevant, I think he could be a good Sixth Man of the Year candidate for that. Of course, ACL, we know how that can be. Just a good system, I think, because, I mean, catch and shoot, play a little bit of defense. The rookie, I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
Bilal Coulibaly.
I think he's going to play well this season with that lineup with Kuzma and Poole. So I'm going to have them actually coming in at 38 wins as well, still a little bit more. They're going to increase, I think, in wins 3 games and take some of those from Atlanta.
Wow. So you got them being better than 35 and 47?
I got them at 38, yes.
Okay. Nick, what about you?
I'm excited. This is a new beginning for this team. You know, I think it was kind of overdue for Bradley Beal to find his way out of there. So, you know, I'm definitely happy that he's starting his new beginning in Phoenix, so that the Wizards can kind of start fresh, you know, with a new roster, and just see where they can build from here. You know, Jordan Poole, I know that he gets a lot of flack for the way that he played in this past playoffs, but I still look at him as a tremendous talent. And of course, you know, I mean, obviously, you know, there was a lot that happened in Golden State, so now this is a new beginning for him to possibly grow and blossom as a number one option for a team. You have guys like Kyle Kuzma there as well. So Kyle Kuzma, I think that can possibly be a new 1-2 tandem, maybe. Who knows? But, you know, I'm excited for this team. I don't have them making the playoffs this year. I think that, you know, they're possibly a few years removed from that. But, you know, this first year is going to be – I think this first year is really going to tell us, you know, where this Wizards team can really – like the direction that they can head into as for years to come.
Yeah, I got them winning under – I'm gonna say 27 games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Dang.
You got them at what? 27?
Yeah, I think they're in rebuild. I think they're in rebuilding mode right now.
Okay. Did you say a number, Nick?
I'm gonna say, I'll say like 33 wins.
Okay.
Yeah, you know, like I said, last year had Porzingis and Kuzma. They had some better play. I don't know what this team is going to look like. I mean, the only guy there, Kispert, Kuzma, and Gafford, are the only 3 guys left in the starting lineup. And, you know, Kispert is good. He's a good floor spacer. He's going to have to improve his defense if he's going to be in the starting lineup, being at that small forward position. Denny Advia is just a lottery pick in 2020. Just hasn't worked out. It really hasn't worked out. You know, their last couple draft picks haven't really worked out. Johnny Davis, like what happened? I don't know what happened. You know, he was a really good scorer out of Wisconsin. Hasn't really been able to do anything right now with the Wizards so far. And yeah, Tyus Jones is a good pickup. You know, I like to see Tyus Jones finally get an opportunity to be a starting point guard in the NBA. It's good for him. He played really well in Memphis. So he's a playmaker as well. So he's a guy that can facilitate the rock and get guys involved. I think that'd be perfect for someone like Jordan Poole. They're kind of small in the backcourt, and their backcourt is going to have to play defense. They're 1 through 3. There aren't great defenders, and Kuzma isn't the best defender. So that's why I said, you know, 27, because I don't know what their defense is going to look like. Gafford's solid. He's a great rim running center. He could get to the basket, lob threat. They'll get some blocks here and there, but I just think their defense they're going to struggle on defense. And unless Poole comes out and has a phenomenal year, I'm sure he's motivated as ever. I mean, he should be one of the most motivated players this year, based on everything that happened last year that Nick said. I think he could be an all-star down the road for sure. I don't know if you guys saw Klay Thompson's interview with Paul George in the podcast. He said the same thing. He said they don't get to the championship without Poole, which is obviously facts. And he thinks that Poole's going to be an all-star in the future, and I agree with that. So it's just going to be up to him. He has the skill set, he has the talent, but I think he has to improve as a defender. Kuzma also has to improve as a defender. Yes, those guys could get 20, they could get 25, but you also got to stop the other players from getting 20 and 25 as well. You got to play defense. That's how you win. That's how you win games. So that's why I think they're going to struggle. Like, yeah, they could score. They got some guys that can put the ball in the basket, but you got to be able to defend it. Right now, as it stands, I don't see them being an elite defensive team.
That's okay. That's okay. Sometimes you're right. Sometimes you're wrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, listen, like, they need, I mean, and these other teams I'm about to mention, they have to go right. Things have to go right for them too. But I look at Orlando and Detroit, like similar to what Nick said at the top of his analysis. It's like man, if they already have a couple years together, you know what I mean? So if they figure it out, they could easily usurp Washington. I can see Washington. Honestly, I can see Washington back in the lottery again, guys.
Honestly, I agree with that. Like, honestly, I think Orlando will be better. I think Detroit will be better. You know what I'm saying?
I guess mine's more going on hope that Poole is going to have this big 180 compared to being knocked out to getting back up kind of story. And Kuzma wants to go with that as well. Pun was intended on that. So, I mean, I feel what I'm hoping is Kuzma is like, hey, man, I was in that life with the Lakers where, you know, a lot of hate, turmoil came towards him. But, you know, we've got a new, fresh start. We're on the East Coast now, different fans base, you know. Let's get in here. Let's not worry about what's social media aspect of it. Let's just get in here and work. And I think Poole is a good player. I even talked about it last offseason that I thought he could replace Klay Thompson. I think he still probably could have if he wasn't lights out. So with that, maybe I'm hoping for
Jesus Christ, yo.
I'm just hoping that is that, you know, I'm just hoping that he has
Jordan
a new
Poole's
beginning.
dad gonna come at you, man. Be careful.
That was a lights out.
So mine is a little bit of hope. I understand that, and I'm cool with that. You know, I'm hoping a better outcome for this team this year.
Absolutely. All right, let's finish up the show, guys. Appreciate you guys for coming in, tuning in, listening, and watching us. We're going to finish off with obviously weekly segment. Who will MNC choose?
Or Nick Snow.
Nick Snow.
I meant Nick Knows,
Nick
but
knows.
Yes, Nick Knows segment. Who to choose?
Come up.
There we go. Now it's popping up.
Here we go. Hoop Central. Which player comes off the bench? So we got Kareem, Shaq, Duncan, Larry Bird, Stephen Curry, and Magic Johnson.
Will we choosing one?
Yeah. Out of these six, which one comes off the bench?
Oh, which one comes off the bench? Ooh.
Okay, here's my thought on this, and I'm just now seeing this kind of looking at it here. If one's got to come off the bench, I'm thinking like position-wise at least. You know, a guard or two guards, small forward, power forward, and center in a way. Looking at this, there's only really three guards, Magic, Curry, and Bird. Bird more small forward, but possibly four as well. So I don't know if I'm coming into this looking at that way where my decision has to be between Tim, Shaq on this or not. So what do you all think on that before we kind of get into it big time?
So I think it's going to come down to either whether you want Shaq or Kareem or Magic or Steph, right? Because, like you said, if you're looking at it from a positional standpoint and starting five, standpoint, Larry and Tim have to stay.
Right.
In my opinion. So, Magic. I'm gonna say Kareem.
You're gonna say Kareem comes off the bench?
I'm gonna say
that's kind of who I'm leaning with too.
I'm gonna say Kareem, and these are not slights to these guys, but I got Shaq, so they're both paint dominated, and I'm gonna go with Shaq. I'm gonna go with Shaq at my starting center, and have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar on the bench, which sounds crazy, but that's because I need Magic for the defense and the playmaking, because we know Steph likes to also play off the ball, so I think that'd be a perfect fit. Larry Bird, you need the floor spacing there. And Tim is not a 3-point shooting power forward, but he can space the floor. We've talked about this ad nauseum over the last few months. And I need the defense as well. One of the best defensive bigs ever. And I got Shaq in the middle. It can't be stopped. That's a great 5. Steph, Magic, Larry, Timmy, and the thieves.
You make the perfect point on this, because I was not thinking that way on that, and I think you take us with you.
Let's win a chip. Let's go win that chip. Let's go win that. We 3 for 3 on that?
I mean, the way you just put it out on a platter, there's no way that you can't go with that.
Because I was going to tell you, because CJ said, it's a toss-up between having Magic and Steph, and then Kareem and Shaq, and I was like, well, I ain't gonna lie, I'm keeping both Magic and Steph in my starting lineup. There's no way, personally. So it's got to be between Kareem and Shaq, and I'll be real. I mean, give credit to Kareem. The skyhook is legendary, but we're talking about just pure dominance. I gotta go Shaq.
Yeah, it's facts, man. All right, let's get to this next one before we get out of here, guys. Here we go. Get rid of one defender. Key word there.
I might have to go Triple J. It's tough though. I might have to go Triple J. Only reason why, I love I know that AD isn't necessarily known for defending multiple positions, but I think his rim protection is definitely one of the best. I mean, we saw it against Memphis in the series. He had like 5 or 6 blocks in that game 6. Then, of course, in that series against Golden State as well, when he was going up against a smaller Kevon Looney. Draymond is one of the premier defenders in the NBA. One of the guys who can defend multiple positions. And then, of course, Bam, who was also great at defending multiple positions, especially on the switches. So it's tough because I love Jaren Jackson Jr. I love what he brings to the table for Memphis. I think that he's one of the guys that sets the tone on the defensive end. But it's tough. But I'm probably going to choose him on this one.
I agree with you, actually, because I actually thought y'all may say Bam on this, and I was going to argue guys a lot on here, but I don't have to. I'm with you on the Triple J. Uh-oh.
It's between Bam and Triple J, in my opinion.
I thought you were gonna say Draymond at first.
No, I'm not gonna say. I can't say Draymond. I've watched too much film, bro. Too elite. And for his size too, he's shortest guy, on this list. DPOY already in 2015. It's so crazy. I mean, it's the defensive player of the year is getting rid of him. I have to go Bam. I'm gonna go Bam. Sorry, guys.
What a loser on this one.
I mean, hey, this guys just want defensive player of the year. It's tough for me.
That's true.
To keep him off the list. Him and Draymond are the only ones that won DPOY. We know AD. They're all DPOY candidates. this is tough. Yeah, this is tough. It's not just a clear cut. Yeah, that's it. This is very tough. Bam's versatile, but Triple J and I've seen what Triple J's been able to do, and international ball as well. What they've been doing with Team USA has done a great job. I got to go Bam on this one, man. So I'm sorry, Michael.
That's okay. I forgive you this time. I'm going to try this camera angle out I just created, guys. What do y'all think about being on this side? That way we can still have our shoes there and not block anyone.
Yeah.
Okay, there we go.
There we go. It's for next week.
So, I would even be fine. Oh, yeah, I won't get into it. I'll leave it alone. I'll just go there. Okay, CJ, you pick Bam as the one you'd cut. I forgive you.
Camera weird, man.
You don't like it on this side?
I mean, it's actually not bad. It's just throwing me up because I'm so used to us being on the left side.
Was that the last one you had?
That was the last one, guys. Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, we'll just go back to this one then, Nick, so you can be okay. All right, guys. It sounds like that wraps it up. A little bit of a lengthy one, but we got a lot of stuff talked about that needed to be talked about. Of course, I think we are 10 weeks away from the very first opening night of the NBA season. So we're going to be breaking down 3 teams each week that we come at. We just did the top 3. Next week is going to be, who was it? Orlando,
and
Charlotte,
yep.
and the Hornets. And who else?
Then we're going to another division. We'll figure that out.
Okay. We may do 2 next week and then add 4 for the next one so it'll even out on that because we didn't think of it that way. But before we roll on out of here, Nick, CJ, please, where can we find you at on social media platform?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. First and foremost, follow us on all platforms at MNC Hoops. That's Twitter or X. That's X. That's Instagram. That's YouTube as well. Make sure to subscribe to the YouTube account or YouTube channel as well. Subscribe to us on all platforms that you listen to your podcast, Apple, Spotify, you name it. Give us 5-star reviews. I think that we are deserving of that. As for myself, follow me on Twitter at NickAndreATR. Follow me on Instagram, same way. Follow me or follow my newest show For the Love of the Game at Love of TGB Ball. The newest episode or the first official episode drops tomorrow. I think everybody should be excited about that. It's just me going through my basketball journey and how I got here to covering media today. So, definitely be on the lookout for that. That'll drop in the AM. And that's about it.
In the AM.
Sir, find me on X at CJames9_. Also, CJ versus the World as well. It's my gaming page. You can find me on X there as well. On YouTube, CJ versus the World. Hit that subscribe button. On the road to 50 subs. On that page. TikTok, CJ versus the World 20. Thank you guys.
Awesome. Of course, Nick already said follow us on everything, social medias for MNC Hoops. We appreciate that. You can check out our link tree to find all those. It's the link tree /@MNC Hoops. We appreciate all the follows, subscribes, and everything with that. Just a little shout out for my new podcast that I am doing with my brother for Everything Kentucky Sports. You can actually go to the link tree on it, and it is linktree/Cats Chat Pod, and that will bring you to everything on there that we have on social media platform as well. So, guys, thank you all so much. I appreciate your time and your thorough knowledge of the NBA and WNBA, Nick, with you. But, of course, we didn't talk about it. But, guys, until next time, you all have a good week.
Deuces.